Chapter 1532, Race Divine Artifact, Heavenly Water Holy Pearl. On the wasteland, when Zhou saw Thanatos advance to a Grade 1 Supreme God, a smile appeared on his face. He had indeed invested in the right choice. This Master God tier of death, Thanatos, had actually made a breakthrough between life and death, and advanced to become a Supreme God. There were only about 10,000 Supreme Gods in the entire universe, and Thanatos was one of them. At this moment, Thanatos turned to look at Zhou and said respectfully, Grade 1 Supreme God of Death, Thanatos, greets the common people's regal, Your Excellency Supreme Lord's 4th Reserve Army. Congratulations on becoming a Grade 1 Supreme God, Your Excellency. Zhou also congratulated him, with a smile. It's all thanks to Your Excellency's help that I was able to become a Grade 1 Supreme God. Otherwise, I'm afraid I'll have already died. How can I still see the scenery that only Supreme Gods can see? Thanatos sighed. This Emperor only gave Your Excellency a slight push. Zhou shook his head and did not take credit. His Majesty's push directly created a Supreme God. Thanatos smiled. Zhou smiled and nodded before asking, I wonder what plans Your Excellency has for the future after you become a Supreme God? I plan to join the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom and serve His Majesty, to repay His Majesty for saving my life and achieving the Tao. Your Majesty, please agree, Thanatos said without hesitation. In that case, I'll oblige. The smile on Zhou's face became even more sincere. Wasn't he investing for this? Thanatos was clearly a smart person. After knowing Zhou's intentions, he immediately agreed. Zhou liked to make friends with such people. Welcome, Your Excellency, to becoming the 8th Supreme God of this Emperor's Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. I hope that in the future, Your Excellency can work together with us to create a greater divine kingdom. You can also seek a better future for yourself. The current him wouldn't be afraid of any enemy. Thanatos nodded. Then, he suddenly reacted and widened his eyes. Wait a minute, what was going on? Was he the 8th Supreme God? How long had it been? And this Your Excellency, the common people's regal, already had 7 Supreme Gods. The last time he saw the common people's regal, the other party didn't even have a Supreme God, right? What exactly happened in just 2 to 3 days? Thanatos was deeply puzzled. Even though he had just become a Supreme God, it was precisely because of this that he could deeply experience the power of a Supreme God. That was why he didn't understand. However, he didn't think too much about it. Perhaps this was the reason why Zhou was the Supreme Lord's 4th Reserve Army. He could always create miracles that others could not understand. At this moment, Zhou threw another boundless universe-level world rings to him. Thanatos subconsciously took it. Then, he heard Zhou say, There are 6 Grade 1 Supreme Divine Artifacts here. They are all Supreme Divine Artifacts related to the law of life and death. They should be very suitable for Your Excellency. Your Excellency, you can choose one of them as a gift for this Emperor to celebrate your advancement to a Grade 1 Supreme God. The remaining 5 Supreme Divine Artifacts will be lent to Your Excellency by this Emperor for his own use. When Your Excellency has accumulated enough military merits under this Emperor, Your Excellency can use the military merits to purchase 5 Supreme Divine Artifacts first. Thanatos. His heart was already numb. First, he threw out the news that he already had 7 Supreme Gods worshipping him. And now, he threw 6 Supreme Divine Artifacts at him, with a nonchalant expression. Could Your Excellency already be a supreme existence? Otherwise, why would you be so generous? The offerings of Supreme Gods and Supreme Divine Artifacts were not as common as cabbages in his hands, but they were almost there. He didn't dare to think too much about it. Thanatos said respectfully and gratefully, Thank you for your reward, Your Majesty. I will definitely do my best to contribute more military merits. Zhou nodded and said, Come back with this Emperor. Very well, Your Majesty. Thanatos nodded. The two of them teleported back to Blazing Sun Divine Capital. In the Divine Capital, Zhou had just arrived when he got Zhou Marshall and company to lead the soldiers to the Chaos Sea, to continue harvesting Chaos Divine treasures. He currently had 136 Chaos Divine treasures in his hands. He was still far from the 500 Chaos Divine treasures needed for his advancement. He would probably need 2 to 3 days to collect all of them. After sending Zhou Marshal to the Chaos Sea, Zhou took out all his Race Divine artifacts and began to think about how he should modify that Race Divine artifact today. A moment later, Zhou had a goal. He took out a crystalline clam pearl. This clam pearl emitted a dense aura of the law of water, and countless illusory clam gods could be vaguely seen living inside. The divine artifact of this race was one of the spoils of war these days. However, Zhou didn't care because it wasn't a human race divine artifact. Now that it was starting to be useful to Zhou, he took it out. He looked at this racial divine artifact. A notification appeared. Race divine artifact name: Heavenly Water Holy Pearl. Equipment grade: Advanced Race Divine Artifact Bound Clam Race. Race Divine Artifact Ability: Divine Protection of Clams. Exclusive Race Divine Artifact. Under the protection of the God of Clams, all clams will obtain a weak increase in their water law talent. Moreover, they will be immune to 30% water-type damage. The strength of the water-type attacks released will be increased by 30%. Race Divine Artifact Description: The Heavenly Water Holy Pearl is the first ancestral god of clams in the myriad worlds. After it died, it used up all the essence of its divine body to condense a racial treasure. It can protect the clam race and allow them to have more future development potential. I'll choose you. Zhou finally made a decision after watching for a while. The reason why he chose this race divine artifact was because he had plans. The chances of modifying the race's divine artifact were limited, so he had to have his own plans. And his thoughts were: he wanted to first enhance the citizens of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom with an immunity to all attributes, ignoring those messy races' enhancement abilities. For example, 5-element damage immunity, space-time damage immunity, physics damage immunity, soul damage immunity, and even willpower damage immunity. He would first increase the basic attributes of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. Then, step by step, he would increase his luck, appearance, perception, bloodline, and so on. He would gradually build the citizens of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom into the strongest race in the world. This Heavenly Water Holy Pearl was his first target. This was because he could augment the citizens of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom with immunity to water-type damage. Even though it was not the divine artifact of all races that had the highest immunity to damage, it was at least the highest among the many race divine artifacts in his hands. However, it was at least the highest among the many race divine artifacts in his hands. Zhou did not waste any time after choosing his target. He immediately took out the Common People's Cauldron and threw the Heavenly Water Holy Pearl in to accept the modification of the Common People's Cauldron. Soon, Zhou felt that 2% of his luck had been stripped out of his total luck and fused into the Common People's Cauldron, turning into firewood for the Common People's Cauldron. He began to modify the Heavenly Water Holy Pearl. A moment later, boom! A low and muffled sound sounded, and the entire Common People's Cauldron shook slightly. Then, the lid of the Common People's Cauldron suddenly opened automatically. A silver stream of light flew out and headed straight for Zhou fight before stopping in front of him. At the same time, Zhou also felt it. About 4% of the power of Providence flew out from its surface and fused into his Providence. When Zhou sensed this, he immediately smiled. His luck had increased by 2%. It was equivalent to using a moment to obtain 2 Divine Kingdom Lord factions for free. This was a good deal. Then, he looked at the modified racial divine artifact. Chapter 1533, Sky Divine Kingdom. Race Divine Artifact Name: Heavenly Water Holy Pearl. Equipment grade: High-level racial divine artifact, bound, Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. Race Divine Artifact Ability: Divine Protection of the Clam. Exclusive Race Divine Artifact. Under the protection of the Clam God, all citizens of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom will receive a weak increase in their talent in the law of water. Moreover, they will be immune to 20% water-type damage. The strength of the water-type attacks released will be increased by 20%. Race Divine Artifact Ability: Divine Protection of the Clam. Exclusive Race Divine Artifact. Under the protection of the Clam God, all citizens of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom will receive a weak increase in their talent in the Law of Water. Moreover, they will be immune to 20% water-type damage. The strength of the water-type attacks released will be increased by 20%. Zhou nodded slightly after reading it. As a universal race divine artifact, it could be used on any race or multiple races in the myriad races of the heavens. Naturally, it was not limited to just one Blazing Sun God race. Therefore, Zhou bound it to all the citizens of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. This way, all the citizens of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom could obtain the protection of the Heavenly Water Holy Pearl. Of course, even though the universal race divine artifacts could be used by one or more races, it did not mean that they could be used on all races in the entire myriad worlds at the same time. Only a divine artifact of a race that surpassed a supreme divine artifact could do such a thing. However, Zhou had never heard of such a thing. Just as Zhou modified the Heavenly Water Holy Pearl, a race divine artifact, all the citizens of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom also knew that the Blazing Sun human race had become the Blazing Sun God race. They also sensed the changes brought about by the Heavenly Water Holy Pearl. They were naturally overjoyed and excited about this. Just as Zheng Yuanqi had said, their Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom could be considered a top bloodline faction with the Blazing Sun God race. Without the Blazing Sun God race, no matter how many Master God tiers they had and how many races submitted to them on the surface, in the eyes of others, they were just a high-level race with many Master God tiers. At the Chaos Sea, at that moment, Zhou Marshall and company had already brought the God of Death, Thanatos, here. One Grade 1 Supreme Godlike God of Death Thanatos around. It was comparable to an army of 1 billion God spirits after all. He soon saw the space-time chaotic divine demons. Zhou Marshall only took a glance before a smile appeared on his face. Therefore, there were a total of 62 chaotic divine demons below. There were 27 more than last time. He flew down with Thanatos and arrived in front of him. "Greetings, Your Majesty." The 4 chaotic divine demons, Space, Wind and Ghost, immediately came in front of Zhou Marshall and said respectfully. The other chaotic divine demons followed suit and bowed to Zhou Marshall. "You guys did well. This emperor is very satisfied." Zhou Marshall first spoke to the space-time chaotic divine demons, before looking at the remaining chaotic divine demons. "Are all of you willing to trade chaotic divine treasures with this emperor?" "Exactly. That's what we're here for. We also want chaos divine treasures." The remaining 58 chaotic divine demons spoke one after another, each with their own reasons. The space-time chaotic divine demons looked at each other and smiled without saying anything. At the same time, their expressions relaxed. When Zhou Marshall saw that these chaotic divine demons were willing to trade, he did not waste any time. He took out 238 Master God tier divine artifacts and threw them to the space-time chaotic divine demons to manage them. Then he made them stand obediently and kill them with a single palm strike. Now, even if he did not use a supreme divine artifact, his combat strength was comparable to an ordinary Grade 3 Supreme God realm. Therefore, it was naturally easy for him to kill the chaotic divine demons at the level of the 58 Master Gods. As for the space-time chaotic divine demon, he did not know about Zhou Marshall's situation. They only saw Zhou Marshall casually kill a total of 58 chaotic divine demons with a single palm strike. It seemed to be even easier than the last time. A thought appeared in the minds of all the chaotic divine demons. Their Majesty's strength had increased again. They couldn't help but gulp. Wasn't His Majesty's strength increasing too quickly? How long has it been? While they were shocked, they could not help but feel lucky and pleasantly surprised. The faster His Majesty's strength increased, the more it proved that their decision to join His Majesty was right. "Congratulations on improving your strength, Your Majesty," the space-time chaotic divine demons said respectfully. Zhou Marshall smiled and nodded. He was in a good mood. This was because he had obtained 268 units of chaotic divine treasures after extracting the 58 chaotic divine demons. He was only 96 chaos divine treasures away from the 500 units of chaos divine treasures needed to advance. 96 chaos divine treasures isn't much. I'll be able to upgrade my territory by tomorrow. Then I'll be able to upgrade the country. Zhou Marshall's eyes lit up. The collection of the chaos divine treasures was much faster than he had imagined. Following that, he didn't say anything else. He first rewarded the space-time chaotic divine demons, and got them to bring more chaotic divine demons here the next time. He then activated the warp gate, and returned to the blazing sun divine capital with Thanatos. Today, Thanatos still had to follow the blazing sun divine kingdom's army to conquer the high continent. It would not be a problem even if they encountered a divine kingdom lord faction that was even harder to deal with a grade 1 supreme god like Thanatos holding down the fort. At the same time, in the ultimate void battlefield, Zhou Fight had already led the blazing sun divine kingdom's army and lord of 10,000 evil's army to the first void mystic realm. The first void mystic realm that Zhou Fight and the others came to was called the Sky Void Mystic Realm. The entire void mystic realm was a dark purple ball of light. Outside the ball of light, there was a faint layer of pure white light wrapped around the dark purple ball of light. Zhou Fight took a closer look at the pure white light membrane and suddenly said, "The power of the Supreme Will." "That's right." The Lord of 10,000 Evils nodded. "This void mystic realm was originally prepared for us, so it's naturally impossible for the ultimate void race to step in. Therefore, the Supreme will specially set up this protective barrier. This protective barrier is harmless to the gods of our supreme great cosmos, but to the living beings of the ultimate void race, whoever touches it will die. It's precisely because of this that these void secret realms have been preserved until now." Zhou Fight nodded. Then they flew straight into the void mystic realm. Just as Lord of 10,000 Evils said, this pure white membrane of light was completely harmless to them. The gods easily entered the pure white membrane of light. Then, they entered the purple ball of light. This was a world where chaotic air currents intertwined with the dark purple void. After Zhou Fight and the others arrived, they realized that they were on a land full of vitality. This continent was extremely large, about the size of 1,000 boundless universes. It was completely enough for the tens of billions of god spirits to fight and live on this continent. What abundant promotion energy! Zhou Fight grabbed the condensed mist in his hand and exclaimed after taking a deep breath. The promotion energy here was so abundant that it was visible to the naked eye. A low-tier deity-level elementary grade god spirit would probably be able to advance from low-tier deity-level elementary grade to low-tier deity intermediate grade within a month. It could be seen how rich the promotion energy here was. And then, he quickly discovered a shocking fact. Chapter 1534. All the land in the world belongs to the king. That was, there were actually non-god spirits, living beings in this sky void mystic realm. Moreover, there were quite a number of them. Their strength was also generally very high. He looked over and realized that the weakest among them had the strength of an elementary grade extraordinary tier. As for god spirits, even though there were fewer of them, there were still many of them. As for god spirits, although there were fewer of them, there were still many of them. Because this place is isolated from the ultimate void environment of the outside world, coupled with the abundance of promotional energy, it's very easy to give birth to some powerful life forms. Moreover, they won't be affected by the outside environment. However, they can only stay in the void mystic realm for the rest of their lives. They can't go out for the rest of their lives, because if they go out, they won't be able to withstand the ultimate void environment outside, and will die. Also, look up there. The Lord of 10,000 Evils pointed at the sky after he finished speaking. Zhou Fight looked over. Then, he realized that there was a kingdom in the sky. That country seemed to be very prosperous. God spirit-level existences lived there, causing the entire country to emit various nomological divine lights, making it seem like a holy country. The life forms on the continent would occasionally look up at the divine kingdom in the sky with envy in their eyes. Only a small number of gods looked at the divine kingdom in the sky with hatred in their eyes. "What's that?" Zhou Fight asked. "That's the Sky Divine Kingdom, a divine spirit kingdom formed by the strongest god spirits in the firmament void mystic realm. They see this as their territory. Furthermore, The treasure left behind by the Supreme Will is in the hands of these guys. If we want to conquer this void territory, we must destroy this country. The Lord of 10,000 Evils said. Zhou nodded. As for why the other party knew so much about it, Zhou did not need to ask. Lord of 10,000 Evils had run this place for so many years, so it was natural for him to know this. If he didn't even know these things, it could only mean that Lord of 10,000 Evils was really useless. At this moment, God's spirits soared into the sky from the Sky Divine Kingdom, and quickly formed an army of more than 10 billion God spirits in the sky. Among them were more than 10 billion ordinary God spirits. There were more than 1 billion true God tier. There were more than 30,000 master gods. There were a total of 5 supreme gods. When Zhou saw this scene, even though he was surprised, he did not panic. This was because from the looks of their military strength, it was obvious that they had the upper hand. He clicked his tongue in wonder. A small void mystic realm can actually nurture so many god spirits, and even supreme gods. Lord Supreme Will, you've really put in a lot of effort into this void secret realm. The Lord of 10,000 Evils didn't speak. This was because he was too embarrassed to say it. After all, it was true that the Supreme Will had prepared so much, but he didn't have the ability to take it. Now, he had asked a junior to bring them over to take it. Lord of 10,000 Evils had a complicated feeling in his heart. At this moment, they saw the gods of the Sky Divine Kingdom suddenly fly towards them, and quickly stop above them, surrounding them. This scene was also seen by the living beings and god spirits on this mainland. What happened? What are the army of God doing there? They seem to have surrounded a group of god spirits. Is it a new outsider? I wonder if this group of outsiders can do it. Can we teach this high and mighty army of God a lesson? The last one left not long after he arrived. It's better not to have any hope for them. The deities on the continent discussed animatedly. At the same time, you're outsiders? In the Sky Divine Kingdom's Sky Army, the leader, a tall god spirit in a red general robe, looked down at them and said. He exuded the divine pressure of a level 2 supreme god, and was one of the strongest in the Sky Army. We are the 3rd and 4th reserve army under the Supreme Will. I came here this time to take back the treasures and legacies that the Supreme Will left for us. And who are you? Zhou asked calmly. Treasures? Legacies? Left for you, the red-robed general chuckled. As long as something in this world belongs to our Sky Divine Kingdom. Where did you get your face from? How dare you say such shameless words? Zhou expression was calm. He only drew the Xian Yuan divine sword from his waist, and aimed the tip of the sword at the grade 2 supreme god. Since we can't negotiate, let's see what we can do. He said softly. The red-robed divine general was stunned. The supreme gods behind him were also stunned. A war involving tens of billions of god spirits could be started just because they had exchanged a few words. Do you think war is a game? You still wanted to chat more and fight for some conditions for the upcoming negotiations? In the end, you wanted to fight the moment you came up? The Lord of 10,000 Evils couldn't help but smile when he saw the red-robed divine general's expression. Over the past few days, he had finally figured out the temper of this common people's regal. Therefore, he wasn't surprised that the other party could make such a decisive decision. This was a ruthless person who led troops to take down a void base as soon as he arrived at the ultimate void battleground. Do you still expect him to negotiate with you? Those who follow me prosper, and those who oppose me perish. This was the essence of these lords. In the past, he could not come, but now that he was here, he came with the intention and determination to conquer the other party. Kill the enemy with me. Bai Yin was the first to activate the war horn, after receiving Zhou order. He picked up the bow and pulled the arrow. 9 streams of light instantly flew out, and then fused into one, transforming into an arrow that tore through the sky with a surging momentum. It went straight for the red-robed divine general's head. Bai Yin, who was Master God tier advanced grade, had already touched the threshold of the Supreme God under the double blessing of the Lord Talent, the protection of the Supreme Will, and the inheritance of the Supreme God that he had. In addition, he walked the path of military formations, and was best at gathering the strength of an army. Therefore, This arrow actually erupted with the aura of a supreme law skill. The red-robed divine general's expression changed slightly. How could he dare to underestimate this sky-breaking arrow? He immediately brandished the spear in his hand and sent out a huge nomological spear blade to counterattack the arrow that tore through the sky. The two collided in the blink of an eye, and a shocking explosion occurred. After the light dissipated, these two attacks actually disappeared from the world at the same time. When the red-robed divine general saw this, his expression immediately turned ugly. However, he was a grade 2 supreme god. The other party was only a master god tier advanced grade god spirit, at most a quasi-grade 1 supreme god. They were evenly matched in this battle, so in the eyes of the other god spirits, he had already lost. At this moment, Zhou Feit's cold voice sounded. This emperor doesn't like things barking on this emperor's head. Fight us on the continent. With that, Zhou Feit directly activated the law skill. All the land in the world belongs to the king. This emperor orders all of you to only fight on the ground. With a single word, the world became his domain. The strongest lord's nomological fluctuations came from him and radiated in all directions. The Sky Divine Kingdom's Sky Army was the first to bear the brunt. They could not control their divine bodies and fell from the sky like dumplings. Even the red-robed grade 2 supreme god fell from the sky with a drastic change of expression and landed heavily on the ground. The red-robed divine general was not injured at all. He immediately stood up and looked at Zhou Feit with red eyes. The fact that he had just fallen from the sky was definitely the greatest insult he could remember. There's a huge contrast between the way you're eating sh*t and the way you were talking nonsense in the sky just now. This emperor likes it very much, Zhou Feit said with a faint smile. Chapter 1535. Activate the Sun of Destiny. 1. The red-robed divine general was enraged. He was the Sky Divine Kingdom's great general. In terms of status, other than the few subordinates who had contributed greatly, he was second only to the Sky Divine Kingdom's marshal. He had long been used to living a high and mighty life after so many years. How could he tolerate Bai Yun's provocation? Fight back. Destroy these foreigners who don't know the dignity of the Divine Kingdom, he ordered angrily. At this moment, the Sky Divine Kingdom's marshal did not say anything when he saw this. He tacitly agreed to the other party's order to attack. The other party had already attacked after all. He had no choice but to counterattack. Soon the two armies clashed on land. It could be seen with the naked eye that the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom's army and the Thousand Evil army had an absolute advantage with their numerical advantage and the number of supreme gods. The founder of the Sky Divine Kingdom and the only grade 4 supreme god of the Sky Divine Kingdom naturally saw this scene. His expression was a little ugly, but he did not panic. He first took out an ancient golden mirror that was engraved with complicated patterns. Zhou Feit and Lord of 10,000 Evils immediately noticed this ancient mirror. What's that? Zhou Feit asked. I don't know. The last time I came, I only roughly investigated the forces of the Sky Divine Kingdom and withdrew. Later on, the Sky Void Mystic Realm was occupied by the Ultimate Void race, and I never came again. The Lord of 10,000 Evils' expression was solemn, but I guess it should be a treasure left behind by the Supreme Will. Because the quality of this mirror should be at the Supreme God level. Even though this small Void Mystic Realm is comparable to or even surpass many Supreme God level blessed lands in terms of energy quality, it's very, very difficult to give birth to a divine artifact of this quality. Zhou Feit nodded. He had the same thought. All hands on deck. Beware of the ancient golden mirror. Zhou Feit ordered the entire army through the army's interface. The order had just been given. All the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom soldiers raised their heads and looked warily at the golden ancient mirror. Shortly after, the golden mirror soared into the sky and floated above the army, reflecting the army of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom and Lord of 10,000 Evils. This move reflected nearly 1 billion god spirits in the mirror. Boom! Powerful spatial laws emanated from the surface of the ancient golden mirror, causing the surrounding space to be sealed. As for the shining army, their bodies suddenly stiffened, unable to move. Then, The golden mirror suddenly turned around and shone the other side of the mirror on the billion god spirits. These nearly 1 billion god spirits actually seemed to be controlled. They turned around expressionlessly and brandished the divine artifacts in their hands to attack their allies. Seeing this scene, the sky god lord nodded slightly. This was one of the 4 void treasures in his hands. It was called the summoning mirror. As long as he used the summoning mirror to illuminate the other party, he could freeze the other party. Then, he could use the other side of the summoning mirror to illuminate the other party and order the other party around. Even supreme gods were very vulnerable to his summoning mirror. Even if one specialized in mental defense, soul defense, or even will defense, it would be useless. As long as he was under the light, he would definitely be controlled. This was the magical aspect of the summoning mirror. However, this summoning mirror was only useful to life forms below the supreme god level. It was completely useless to existences at the willpower level and above. However, that was not a flaw at all. It was difficult to even produce a supreme divine artifact in this sky void mystic realm, let alone a supreme will realm existence after all. Therefore, the summoning mirror was basically invincible in this world. At the same time, just as the sky god lord was rejoicing over the effects of the summoning mirror, Lord of 10,000 Evils looked at Zhou Fight with a strange expression. Zhou Fight raised his eyebrows slightly with a strange expression. He knew what Lord of 10,000 Evils wanted to say. That mirror's method was indeed a little like his Son of Destiny. However, the actual effect is far from good. He could directly incite half of the other party's troops after using his Son of Destiny. How could he only instigate the incite defection of 1 billion god spirits? Petty. It'll show you real control. Zhou Fight raised his right hand and activated the Son of Destiny. The Lord Talent notification appeared. Prompt. You have activated your supreme unique Lord Talent, Son of Destiny. You have been blessed by the heavens. 50% of the enemies in the enemy Lord's faction have been summoned by the heavens and have become your loyal subordinates. Lord Talent notification. A total of 5,223,414,354 low-tier deity level god spirits. 3,382,549,365 mid-tier deity level god spirits. 2,128,372,389 high-tier deity level god spirits. 520,342,340 true god tiers. 15,123 supremacy gods. 1 grade 1 supreme god and 1 grade 2 supreme gods left their organizations and became your heavenly followers. Zhou Fight nodded in satisfaction after reading it. While this sky divine kingdom was only a divine kingdom in a void mystic realm, it had to be said that his Son of Destiny gained a lot. He released the Son of Destiny and directly obtained 10,734,336,108 god spirits, 520,342,340 true gods, 15,123 master gods, and 2 supreme gods. The total number of ordinary god spirits had increased by 1/3. The number of master gods had increased by 1.5 times. It could be said to be a huge gain. Then, he didn't hesitate to get the god spirits that the Son of Destiny had incite defection to immediately counterattack the Sky Divine Kingdom. Chapter 1536. Activate the Son of Destiny. 2. So in the next second, under the incredulous gazes of the Sky God Lord, the red-robed God General, and the other Supreme God, half of the god spirits under their command suddenly turned around and counterattacked their own people. What's going on? The Sky God Lord and the others were dumbfounded. Why did the god spirits, true gods, master gods, and even supreme gods on their side attack their own people instead? It must be a trick. Sky God Lord said solemnly. I didn't know there was such a thing. I wonder when they'll regain consciousness. The Sky God Lord felt that the situation was a little tricky. His military strength and number of god spirits were inferior to the other party to begin with. Now that the other party had used such a strange method to make half of his subordinates join the other party, how could they continue fighting? Even if I take out my other 3 void artifacts, I'm afraid it will be difficult to deal with him. This thought flashed across the Sky God Lord's mind, and his expression turned ugly. Your Majesty. At this moment, the Sky Marshal suddenly said, I realized that even though the other party's method is strange, it's not impossible to resolve it. What do you mean? Tell me. Your Majesty, once my method is heard by the other party, it won't work. I need to approach Your Majesty and inform you using a secret technique. The Sky Marshal said solemnly. Then come and talk. The Sky Marshal had no other doubts. In the entire Sky Divine Kingdom, if the Sky Marshal said that he was the second most loyal subject to him, no other god spirit would dare to say that he was the first after all. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to sit in this position. The Sky Marshal nodded and walked towards the Sky God Lord. When the great general saw this scene, he had a strange feeling. He felt that something was wrong with the Sky Marshal. Just as he was hesitating whether to remind His Majesty, the Sky Marshal had already leaned over to the Sky God Lord's side. He whispered, Your Majesty, the other party's method of cracking this strange law skill is... Puff! The Sky Marshal stabbed his saber into the other party's chest. Then, the faint sound of something shattering could be heard from his chest. That was the Sky God Lord's Supreme God Divine Spark. The Sky Marshal's slash had actually caused cracks to appear on the Sky God Lord's Divine Spark. Ha 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 ha. The Sky Marshal laughed as he retreated. In the blink of an eye, he rushed into the battlefield and disappeared. Only his mocking voice echoed in the ears of the Sky God Lord and the surrounding god spirits. Sky God Lord, you are no match for my lord, the common people's regal. Surrender quickly. I'll still ask my lord to spare your life out of consideration for him. If you resist stubbornly, you will die. Silence. The god spirits around the Sky Marshal reacted only after a few seconds. Your Majesty. His Majesty is wounded. Hurry and take your medicine. D*Minu Bakar. How dare you betray His Majesty and even stab him? I'm going to kill you. At this moment, some god spirits were terrified. Some were angry, some were uneasy, and some were secretly happy. As for the Sky God Lord, who was surrounded by the gods, his face was extremely pale and his aura was extremely weak. On the surface, he looked strong and calm. He secretly checked his condition before his heart sank. He was severely injured. Moreover, because of the damage to his divine spark, if he did not take the divine medicine to treat it in time, his strength would fall from a grade 4 Supreme God realm to a grade 3 Supreme God realm, or even lower. At the thought of this, he was completely flustered. Strength was the capital and foundation for him to control everything. If his strength decreased, then everything he had now would disappear. Who wouldn't panic? Then, he felt an irrepressible anger. He had been painstakingly cultivating for so long. He did not expect that in a moment of carelessness, he would let his most trusted subordinate stab him in the back. He hated Bakar, the Sky Marshal that he once trusted the most. However, the rational him was even more ruthless than Joe Fight and Lord of 10,000 Evils, who had brought all of this. They brought all this calamity. Kill them. I want to kill them all. The Sky God Lord's eyes were bloodshot as if he had gone crazy. Your Majesty, what do we do next? Another grade 2 Supreme God asked solemnly. The situation on the field was now very clear. Facing the joint attack of the Lord of 10,000 Evils and Zhou Zhan, coupled with the insight defection of Zhou Fight's Son of Destiny, the army of the Sky Divine Kingdom was no longer their match. If His Majesty could not come up with any trump cards to control the battlefield, they would definitely lose this battle. Kill them all, of course. Otherwise, it's hard to get rid of my heart. The Sky God Lord looked at the Supreme God with bloodshot eyes. Seeing this pair of eyes, the Supreme God and the surrounding god spirits could not help but feel apprehensive. The Sky God Lord snorted and stretched out his right hand. A divine bone covered in dense nomological patterns appeared in his hand. This is a treasure from the ultimate void. It was swept into our world by the space vortex and became one of our world's most precious treasures. I call it the Heavenly Divine Bones. There's an incomplete lost skill in the Celestial Divine Bones, called the Celestial Divine Light. It's extremely powerful. Even a top Supreme God wearing a 4th grade Supreme Divine Artifact can't withstand the power of the celestial divine light. I will use it to slay the leader of this enemy. The Sky God Lord said hatefully. His Majesty actually has such a supreme treasure. Our divine kingdom is saved. Hearing this, the deities were instantly excited. Watch me take the head of the enemy. The Sky God Lord raised the Sky Divine Bones. In the next second, the Heaven Divine Bones emitted an extremely resplendent light. This light was so bright that all the living beings on the entire continent could see its existence. Shortly after, the light condensed once more, quickly forming a sphere of golden flames. It seemed to have eyes as it spun around. In the blink of an eye, he looked at all the living beings on the battlefield and finally fixed his gaze on Zhou Fight. So it's all his doing. The heavenly divine light had the ability to find enemies, so it could tell at a glance that Zhou Fight was the leader and decision-maker of the war. Kill him, the Sky God Lord said with hatred. As soon as he finished speaking, swoosh, a golden flame flashed and headed straight for Zhou Fight. Not long ago, Zhou Fight was chatting with the Lord of 10,000 Evils. This Sky Divine Kingdom is really weak. With so many god spirits, you're nothing but a silver spearhead. Zhou Fight lamented. The corners of the Lord of 10,000 Evils' mouth twitched. Anyone would be useless in front of your strange insight defection method. Fortunately, this ability could only be used once. Otherwise, in 2 days, the ultimate void battleground would be surnamed Zhou. It's normal. After the Lord of 10,000 Evils calmed down his complicated emotions, he explained. The Void Secret Realm is a reward-type secret realm created by the Supreme Will. Naturally, there won't be any powerful opponents. It's enough for us to sharpen ourselves. Zhou Fight nodded. Right at that moment, he felt a faint sense of threat. He looked up and happened to see a golden resplendent divine light flying towards him, with an earth-shattering momentum. Zhou Fight's eyes narrowed, but he did not panic. With a thought, he saw 3 divine incarnations condensed from his divine power appear in front of him. These incarnations of divine power were covered in supreme divine artifacts. As soon as they appeared, they flew straight towards the golden light that reached the sky. The first divine clone quickly clashed with the divine light. With the help of the supreme divine artifact on him, this first divine power clone only resisted for a few seconds before it was destroyed by the heavenly divine light. Even the supreme divine artifact was shattered to a certain extent. However, the golden light also dimmed a little. Next, the second clone and the third clone also stepped forward to block the divine light. After the 3 doppelgangers, the divine light in the sky had already dissipated because it had neutralized the divine light's power. The ambush failed. Your Majesty, bring on whatever else you have got to avoid being put in a coffin after death. Zhou Fight smiled at the Sky God Lord in the distance. Chapter 1537. Conquering the Sky Divine Kingdom 1. The Sky God Lord was about to go crazy, but at the same time, he felt immense fear towards the god spirit Zhou Fight. This guy is too scary. It was as if he could easily resolve any trump card he brought out. No way. The Sky God Lord calmed down and his gaze became vicious again. No matter how many tricks the other party had, he had to give it his all. Otherwise, once he was defeated, his life would no longer be in his hands. Then the Sky God Lord used 3 more treasures in a row. The first treasure was a pink gauze. After he used this treasure, the 10 billion god spirits under him had an additional layer of pink gauze on his body, increasing his defense. Increasing the defense of 10 billion god spirits at the same time was indeed a good treasure. But it was only SOSO for Zhou Fight. He had only summoned the dragon god of all life and added a few buffs to him and the evil army. He had easily surpassed him and even destroyed the effects of the other party's pink gauze treasure. The second treasure that the Sky God Lord took out was a treasure that could affect and even control the will of the god spirit army. However, as top-notch supreme holy mage gods, the supreme god realm soldiers and supreme holy mage gods under him had the talent for will defense. The other party's will to control treasures did not have any negative impact on their army at all. Coupled with the existence of the resolute treasure seal, such a treasure that attacked the will was even more useless to them. The third treasure was a pill. After the Sky God Lord carefully took out the pill, He asked the Grade 2 Supreme God-level Great General to come over and let them take it. After consuming this pill, this Great General's strength had actually temporarily advanced from a Grade 2 Supreme God to a Grade 4 Supreme God. His combat strength had greatly increased, and he had thrown himself into the battlefield to show his might. Zhou Feit, who had not reacted all this while, was a little angry when he saw this scene. He had long treated the treasures of the Sky Divine Kingdom as his own. In particular, some of the treasures were left behind by the Supreme Will. It was fine if the other party used the first few treasures. He could still use them after taking them over after all. However, this pill was a consumable treasure. If you used it all up, there would really be nothing left. It would be strange if he wasn't angry. You're using my pills. Zhou Feit was very dissatisfied, so he immediately ordered the 2 Grade 2 Supreme Gods under him, who were dressed in Supreme God artifacts, to destroy the Sky Divine Kingdom's Great General. This fellow had just eaten this pill not long ago. After eliminating him, he could extract the other party's spoils of war. Perhaps he could even drop the pill. Zhou Feit thought to himself. As for the Sky Divine Kingdom's Great General, he immediately became high-spirited after taking the elixir and temporarily increasing his strength to that of a Grade 4 Supreme God. He looked at Zhou Feit viciously. In the next moment, he disappeared on the spot. Zhou Feit also noticed the other party's gaze. He extended his right hand and saw the recently obtained ancient mirror appear in his hand. He threw it up and saw the ancient mirror fly above his head and slowly rotate, illuminating all directions of the Zhou Feit, illuminating all the hidden life forms in the space and void. Before the Great General, who had just infiltrated in stealth mode, could get close to Zhou Feit, he was directly exposed by the ancient mirror. The Great General was stunned. How dare you come alone? Do you really think that you are invincible just because you have the ultimate void escape technique? The Lord of 10,000 Evils laughed sinisterly. Zhou Feit did not say anything else. The Lord of 10,000 Evils turned into a black stream of light and rushed towards the Supreme God of the Sky Divine Kingdom. In addition, 2 Supreme Gods each flew out from the blazing Sun Divine Kingdom and the 1,000 Evil army to attack the Great General with Lord of 10,000 Evils. Oh no! When the Great General saw this scene, the alarm in his mind exploded. Without thinking, he turned around and disappeared into the ultimate void again. Roar! A dragon roar sounded. The dragon god of all life had flown out at some point in time and roared in the direction where the Great General had fled. Then, the Lord of 10,000 Evils and the others saw a void crack quickly open under this dragon roar. The figure of the Great General, who had yet to escape, could be vaguely seen inside. Give chase! The Lord of 10,000 Evils was overjoyed when he saw this. They thought that after this fellow escaped into the void, they would not be able to continue chasing. Now that they saw this scene, they remembered that this pet of the common people's regal could open the gate of transmigration in the ultimate void at any time and place to teleport for a long distance. With the dragon god of all life around, this supreme god of the Sky Divine Kingdom, who dared to come and assassinate him, would definitely not be able to return. In the blink of an eye, the Lord of 10,000 Evils and the others immediately chased after the little dragon opened the gate of transmigration. In less than a moment, the Lord of 10,000 Evils and the others returned. However, unlike when they left, they were still holding a lifeless god's corpse in their hands. It was the corpse of the Sky Divine Kingdom's Great General. Oh, give it to Brother Common People's Regal. The Lord of 10,000 Evils laughed and threw the corpse in front of Zhou Feit. Thank you, Brother Demon Lord, Zhou Feit said with a smile as he disassembled him. However, it was a pity that the elixir was something that had already been eaten, so it did not drop. Instead, as many as 20 supreme divine artifacts dropped. He was really getting rich. The Lord of 10,000 Evils only waved his hand when he heard this, looking like he didn't care. He had already brought his troops over to claim credit. Giving Zhou Feit a supreme god-level corpse was nothing. At the same time, when the Sky God Lord saw that his great general was killed, he fell into complete despair. There were only 2 supreme gods on his side, including he and the other grade 2 supreme god. He was also seriously injured and could not unleash any combat strength. On the other hand, the other party had more than 10 supreme gods, and all of them were equipped with supreme divine artifacts. It could be said to be extremely luxurious, and the combat power enhanced was naturally needless to say. Under such circumstances, the Sky God Lord looked at his trump cards and realized that he no longer had any hope of turning the tables. He looked at the battlefield below in a daze. He knew that the outcome of this continuing battle had already been announced the moment the great general failed his assassination and died. The other party's various means far exceeded his imagination. Furthermore, the trump card that he believed could be easily dealt with in the other party's eyes. This war, even though he was very indignant at his loss, he had nothing to say about it. At the same time, when Zhou Fight saw that the Sky God Lord did not use any other trump cards, he guessed that the Sky God Lord did not have any other tricks up his sleeve. Seeing this, he was completely relieved. It seemed that he had already taken down this battlefield. Zhou Fight felt that the overall difficulty of this Sky Void Mystic Realm was moderate. It was neither too easy nor too difficult. It was just right. It seemed that just as Lord of 10,000 Evils had said, these Void Mystic Realms in the ultimate Void battlefield were reward-type Mystic Realms. It would have a certain level of difficulty, but it would not be to the extent of despair. Its main purpose of existence was to give the Supreme Lord Reserve Army experience and rewards. It did not have any other intention of making things difficult. The other two Void Secret Realms should be similar. It would be in a different form at best. Zhou Fight guessed. From the looks of it, there was a high chance that he would be able to take down 3 Void Mystic Realms in the Wanlong War territory today. Chapter 1538. Conquering the Sky Divine Kingdom, 2. The subsequent development was just as Zhou Fight had expected. With the Sky God Lord having no more trump cards to deal, the Sky Divine Kingdom's army, which was already difficult to resist the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom's army and the Thousand Evil Army's army, had no hope of turning the tables. In less than 4 hours, the Sky Divine Kingdom army was completely destroyed. Not a single living god spirit of the Sky Divine Kingdom surrendered. Then, a loud laugh suddenly came from afar. Haha, brother common people's regal, look who I found. Zhou Fight, and the rest immediately looked over. The Lord of 10,000 Evils was personally escorting a god spirit over. This god spirit was none other than the Sky God Lord, the master of the Sky Divine Kingdom. At this moment, he had a downtrodden expression and a dispirited aura. After seeing the weekly battle, the once high and mighty Lord of the Divine Kingdom actually revealed a flattering smile. Supreme Lord's 4th Reserve Army, can you spare my life? I'm a grade 4 Supreme God. If I join you, it'll definitely increase the strength of your subordinates greatly. I promise that I won't be disloyal after joining you. I'll go wherever you want me to go. I'll destroy whoever you want me to destroy. I'm good. Many supreme gods looked scornful as soon as these words were spoken. It was the nature of life forms to be afraid of death. If another god spirit had said this, they would not have reacted at all. If it were them, their performance might not be better than the Sky God Lord's after all. However, the most important thing was that just now, all the god spirits in the entire Sky Divine Kingdom, except for those who had been instigated by His Majesty to use the Sun of Destiny to incite defection, had all chosen to fight to the death and not retreat. None of them had chosen to surrender in order to survive, let alone say so many despicable words in order to survive. As the ruler of a divine kingdom, the Sky God Lord's backbone was not even comparable to any low-level god spirit from the Sky Divine Kingdom on the battlefield. They were too ashamed to be associated with such a supreme god. Faced with the Sky God Lord's words, Zhou Fight's expression was very indifferent. You want to join this Emperor's Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom? He asked lightly. Yes. Please give me this chance, Your Excellency Regal. After I join you, I will definitely serve you well. The Sky God Lord's eyes lit up as he hurriedly expressed his loyalty. He had just taken a look at the supreme gods beside this Supreme Lord's Reserve Army. In the end, he discovered something that surprised him. Among this group of supreme gods, not a single one was a grade 4 supreme god. The strongest one was only a grade 3 supreme god realm, and it had just been induced from their sky divine kingdom to instigate incite defection. As a top-notch grade 4 supreme god, the sky god lord could not think of any reason for Zhou Fight to reject him. At the thought of this, the sky god lord felt that his life should be saved. He even had some thoughts deep in his heart. There didn't seem to be any top-notch powerhouses around the third reserve lord. The reason why these supreme gods around him were so powerful was mostly because of the set of supreme divine artifacts they had. With the support of the entire set of supreme divine artifacts, these grade 1 and grade 2 supreme gods could even fight against grade 3 and grade 4 supreme gods. And this common people's regal didn't have a grade 4 supreme god by his side. When he went over, he would definitely obtain the other party's favor. If he could make use of this opportunity, he might have a chance to take over the magpie's nest and make a comeback. The sky god lord thought to himself, if he could seize all the foundations of the third reserve army of the supreme lord, not only would he be able to escape from this mystic realm, he might even be able to take a step further and spy on the realm above the supreme god. At the thought of this, the sky god lord was even more excited. However, he hid it very well. He still had a look of regret and hope on his face as he looked at Zhou Fight with anxiety and desire. When Zhou Fight heard the other party's words, he only glanced at the sky god lord. This simple glance made the sky god lord feel as if he had fallen into an ice cave. Under his gaze, the sky god lord even felt that his thoughts had been completely seen through. No, I am a grade 4 supreme god. And this supreme lord's fourth reserve army was only a pseudo-supreme god that had advanced by relying on law skills. How could he read my mind? The sky god lord comforted himself. However, at this moment, an indifferent voice suddenly sounded. This emperor refuses. What? The sky god lord looked at Zhou Fight in disbelief. You don't even want a grade 4 supreme god. What Zhou Fight said next shattered the hope in his heart. This emperor won't want a god spirit who comes knocking on my door with ulterior motives, no matter how strong that god spirit is. Zhou Fight said with a faint smile. Sky god lord. At this moment Zhou Fight's tone suddenly changed. Actually, if you had immediately led the army to surrender to this emperor, when you saw that the situation was not right, this emperor would still be willing to let you join my army. It doesn't matter if you have ulterior motives. Unfortunately, you didn't. You chose to let the war continue until all the god spirits under your command died in battle, until you became a loner. Only when you completely realized that you really had no hope of winning, did you recognize the truth. After that, you chose to escape and didn't give up resisting and join this emperor. This emperor will definitely not allow you to surrender. Otherwise, if you survive like this, how will this emperor explain to the soldiers who just died in the war? Zhou Fight looked deeply at the sky god lord. This principle is the principle of surrender that the body has always adhered to. The clones also approved of this principle. Therefore, even if he did not have a grade 4 supreme god by his side, Zhou Fight still chose to reject his surrender. Besides, so what if he was a grade 4 supreme god? Not counting himself. The grade 2 supreme gods under him were not inferior to grade 4 supreme gods, even if they wore a full set of grade 4 supreme divine artifacts. Did this sky god lord really think that he lacked the combat power of a grade 4 supreme god? When the sky god lord heard Zhou Fight's words, he was completely stunned. This was the real reason why he was not accepted as a surrender? After hearing Zhou Fight's words, Lord of 10,000 Evils looked at Zhou Fight with admiration again. Then, Zhou Fight waved his hand and got a supreme god to bring the sky god lord down to destroy him. After cleaning up the battlefield, he'll conquer the other 2 void mystic realms. Zhou Fight calculated in his heart. With the experience of conquering the sky void mystic realm, he believed that it wouldn't take too long to resolve the 2 void mystic realms. Chapter 1539, Race Divine Artifact, Fire God Barrier. The Old Origin of the New Chaos Divine Treasure, 1. A moment later, the entire sky void mystic realm shook slightly. Then, 5 white balls of light descended from the chaotic and dark purple sky and landed in front of Zhou Fight. Could this be our reward for attacking the Sky Void Mystic Realm? Zhou Fite looked at the 5 balls of light curiously. Then, he looked at them one by one. Zhou Fite was very familiar with the first 4 balls of light. They were the 4 treasures that the Sky God Lord had used to deal with them. They were Void Treasure, Summoning Mirror Void Treasure, Mystic Spirit Mist Void Treasure, Bewitching Bell Void Treasure, Heavenly Saint Spirit Pill. The Summoning Mirror could immobilize and incite defection the enemy for a short period of time, but there was a certain time limit. Mystic Spirit Mist was a large-scale defensive treasure that could slightly increase the defense of the army under its command. The Bewitching Bell could confuse the mind, soul, and will. As for the Heavenly Saint Spirit Pill, it could temporarily increase one's strength to the level of a Grade 4 Supreme God. Zhou Fite looked at the 4 treasures in surprise. It seemed like these 4 treasures could only be obtained by killing the leaders of the opposing factions that occupied the Void Pocket Dimension. Then, he asked the Supreme God who had executed the Sky God Lord. Indeed, he learned from the other party that the Sky God Lord did not drop these 5 treasures after his death. Indeed, the Sky God Lord only had these 5 treasures at the last minute. When his dies, the 5 treasures will naturally return to their original owners. Even this Heavenly Saint Spirit Pill will return to its original state. Zhou Fite thought. However, to be honest, based on the performance of the battle, Zhou Fite was not too interested in the first 3 treasures. Since it was too weak, it was not even comparable to the treasure in his hand. Only the Heavenly Saint Spirit Pill was interesting. Then, he looked at the 5th treasure. It was actually not accurate to call it a treasure. This was because the 5th treasure was the Void Mystic Realm token that controlled the entire Sky Void Mystic Realm. It was also completely chaotic in dark purple. It looked very ancient. As long as ones will recognize this token as its master, they could control the entire Void Secret Realm. Zhou Fite's eyes lit up when he saw the token. This was a true treasure. He could actually control the entire Void Mystic Realm. Zhou Fite had just seen with his own eyes how shocking the cultivation effects of this Void Mystic Realm were. The ordinary life forms living here did not cultivate much. At the very least, they could grow into extraordinary tier experts. If he cultivated seriously and had the guidance of a god spirit or an inheritance, it would not be a problem for him to become a god spirit. A low-tier deity-level elementary grade god spirit only needed to cultivate here for a month to advance from a low-tier deity-level elementary grade god spirit to a low-tier deity intermediate grade god spirit. There are other benefits as well. Other than the fact that this place was located in the ultimate void battlefield, and it was very difficult for life forms from the outside world to enter, there were almost no other shortcomings. Zhou Fite immediately decided to use this place as his military base. Blazing Sun bases 1, 2, 3 were all too weak compared to this place. Then, he thought of something and looked at the Lord of 10,000 Evils. Brother Demon Lord, I want this Void Mystic Realm token and the Heavenly Saint Spirit Pill. As for the 3 treasures, how about you take them? I don't want them either. I've already benefited a lot from being able to fight this Void Mystic Realm with you. The Lord of 10,000 Evils shook his head. He could not even enter the Sky Void Mystic Realm without Zhou Fite, let alone perform in front of the Supreme Will. What were these treasures in the face of earning an improved impression of the Supreme Will? He would have even wanted to pay for Zhou Fite to let he participate in the war that Zhou Fite was about to carry out if he could think of a better reason. However, Zhou Fite was very insistent. The 2 sides gave way to each other for a long time before reaching a conclusion. The Lord of 10,000 Evils didn't want the treasures of the Void Mystic Realm, nor did he want the control of the Void Mystic Realm. He only needed 1/10 of the gains from the Mystic Realm to lead the troops to participate in the war with Zhou Fite. In addition, he needed to revive the god spirits who had died under him in the battle last week. Of course, supreme gods were too powerful and were temporarily not within the resurrection range. Both of them were very satisfied with this result, especially Zhou Fite. With the life arc and the grade 1 supreme god of death, Thanatos, around, reviving the god spirit would not cost him much after all. By the way, Brother Demon Lord, what kind of treasure is a void treasure? Zhou Fite asked. By the way, brother demon lord, what kind of treasure is a void treasure? Some of them will happen to fall into the universe and become rare extraterrestrial treasures. Of course, the rarity varies from person to person. It's naturally nothing to the supreme will. For us, it's a good treasure. For ordinary life forms, it's an unparalleled treasure. The Lord of 10,000 Evils smiled. Zoophyte was enlightened. He looked at the 5 treasures rewarded by the Sky Void Mystic Realm, and clicked his tongue in wonder. So the Supreme Will had placed the treasures floating over from the void here as a reward. He shook his head and did not care about this. He completed the mission only to obtain military merits and mission medals. These other treasures were just bonuses. Right at that moment, a supreme god flew over and came in front of Zoophyte. Your Majesty, a master god who claims to be from the Sky Mystic Realm wants to see you. Let him in. Zoophyte said nonchalantly. Yes, Your Grace. The supreme god said respectfully. Chapter 1540, Race Divine Artifact, Fire God Barrier. The old origin of the new Chaos Divine Treasure. Too soon. A 4-headed and 2-armed people of foreign races flew over and landed in front of Zoophyte, and Lord of 10,000 Evils. Why are you looking for this Emperor? Zoophyte asked. I'm here to thank the Regal Lord for saving us. The Master God of the people of foreign races said nervously and gratefully. This Emperor destroyed your Sky Divine Kingdom, yet you're still grateful to me? Zoophyte smiled. Regal Lord, we can't wait for you to destroy this King Sky Divine Kingdom as soon as possible. Hatred flashed in the eyes of the Master God of the people of foreign races. This Sky Divine Kingdom has chosen the god spirits born in the Sky Continent to join their Sky Divine Kingdom and serve them as slaves. They respected the so-called god spirits with the royal bloodline and did not treat the god spirits who ascended from our continents as god spirits. They even refined a Dharma treasure called the Blood Transformation Pool to fuse with our divine bones and transform into our divine blood as food for their advancement. Many of my friends and relatives died at the hands of these starts. If I hadn't fled so quickly back then, I'm afraid what you're seeing now would have been a pile of bones. Zoophyte's expression changed when he heard this, and he communicated with Zero. Soon, Zero replied to him, and said that there was indeed a chemical divine pool in the shrine of the Sky Divine Kingdom, and there was more than one. The Lord of 10,000 Evils smiled with an ordinary expression, as if he had just heard a small matter. Most closed-off worlds are like this. No matter how prosperous the world was in the beginning, without communication with the outside world, as time passes, the interior of the world will eventually become a pool of smelly stagnant water. Involution, infighting, fratricidal. It's hard to stop unless there's some outside interference. He casually said. Zoophyte nodded slightly. He had many inherited memories in his mind. Many worlds were indeed like this. This Emperor only wants to conquer this Sky Divine Kingdom, and has never thought of killing you. However, since this Emperor has taken over the Sky Divine Kingdom, you will be my subject in the future. This Emperor can guarantee that your lives will not be like before. Thank you for your kindness, Your Majesty. The Master God of the people of foreign races said nervously and gratefully. They could only believe what this regal said. There was no other choice. A moment later, all the treasures of the Sky Divine Kingdom had been plundered. Right at that moment, Bai Yin came in front of Zoophyte and raised a world ring. Your Majesty, look at what I found in the treasure vault of the Sky Divine Kingdom. Oh! Zoophyte looked at Bai Yin's excited expression and could not help but be interested. He took the world rings and entered it with his divine consciousness. Then, his eyes lit up. This was because he had discovered a total of 53 Chaos Divine treasures in this world ring. Were these world rings found in the Divine Kingdom's treasure vault of the Sky Divine Kingdom? Zoophyte immediately asked. Yes, Your Grace. However, the god spirits of the Sky Divine Kingdom don't seem to understand the use of this Chaos Divine treasure. They even placed these Chaos Divine treasures together with a pile of low-tier deity-level divine crystals. Bai Yin shook her head because she naturally knew that His Majesty valued this Chaos Divine treasure. She did not expect that these god spirits of the Sky Divine Kingdom would actually equate the value of the Chaos Divine Treasure to a pile of low-level divine crystals? Find a supreme god of the Sky Divine Kingdom who succeeded in insight defection. Zhou Feit said, "Yes, Your Grace." Bai Yin immediately accepted the order and went to look for those guys. Soon, she reappeared with a Grade 3 Supreme God realm with transparent wings on his back. This Supreme God was none other than the Sky Marshal Bakar, who had just ambushed the Sky God Lord. "Bakar greets Your Majesty," Bakar said respectfully, with a fanatical expression. "Bakar, do you know about these things?" Zhou Feit asked directly with a Chaos Divine Treasure in his hand. Bakar took a look and nodded. "Your Grace, I know. These are Chaotic Divine Demons' Chaotic Divine Treasures." "How can there be a Chaotic Divine Demon's Chaotic Divine Treasure in your Sky Void Mystic Realm?" Zhou Feit asked curiously. "It's said that in the ancient legendary tier, our Void Mystic Realm was originally created by the Chaotic Divine Demon. The moment the legendary tier Void Mystic Realm was officially born, the Chaotic Divine Demon fused with the Tao and fused into the entire Void Mystic Realm, stabilizing it completely. Then we, the life forms of the Void Mystic Realm, were born. These Chaotic Divine Treasures were left behind by the Chaotic Divine Demons after they died. However, after we collected these relics, we discovered that there were only some relatively special chaotic energy and chaotic laws inside. Other than the fact that they were forged by the heavens and the earth, there was nothing special about them. Therefore, the first God Lord of the Sky Divine Kingdom treated them as collectibles and threw them into the treasure vault of the Divine Kingdom." Bakar said. Zhou Feit was enlightened. It turned out that this Void Mystic Realm was created by the Supreme while ordering the Chaotic Divine Demons. No wonder there was so much chaotic energy inside. A smile appeared on his face. "It seems I cannot let go of the other Void Mystic Realms in the future." There were many Chaos Divine Treasures inside that he could obtain. More than an hour later, the battlefield had already been cleaned up, and the Sky Divine Kingdom had almost been plundered. Seeing this, Zhou Feit led his army and left with Lord of 10,000 Evils and the 1,000 Evils army. He would naturally bring troops back to this Sky Void Mystic Realm after completing the mission. The remaining 2 Void Mystic Realms were called Hero Void Mystic Realm and All Flames Void Mystic Realm. They were controlled by 2 Grade 4 Supreme Gods and a large number of God Spirits. Their forces were about the same as the forces of the Sky Divine Kingdom. So Zhou, whose strength had increased greatly again, only spent more than 6 hours to easily take down these 2 Void Mystic Realms. Apart from his normal gains, Zhou Feit also obtained 110 Chaos Divine Treasures from the 2 Void Mystic Realms. Coupled with the 53 Chaos Divine Treasures he had obtained in the Sky Void Mystic Realm, it brought everything to a total of 163 Chaos Divine Treasures. Zhou Feit nodded in satisfaction. He was originally only short of 93 Chaos Divine Treasures to upgrade his territory. Now not only did he not lack them, he even had a lot more. This way, his main body could upgrade his territory today. At this moment, lines of text appeared in front of Zhou Feit. Ultimate Void Battlefield Mission Hint. Congratulations, Lord of the Blazing Sun. You have successfully conquered 3 Void Mystic Realms in the Wanlong War territory. You are rewarded with 10,000,000 military merits, 10 Supreme God Mission medals, and 1 Universal Race Divine Artifacts. Zhou Feit nodded. Then, he opened his military merit panel. User, Lord of the Blazing Sun, Supreme Lord's 4th Reserve Army, Ultimate Void Battleground. The second leader of the Supreme Will Camp. Military merits. 26 million points mission medal, 21. 5 Supreme Mission medals. Other rewards, none. Bai Yin. Lead the soldiers and station them in the Hero Void Mystic Realm and the All Flames Void Realm. This Emperor will return to the Demon Lord's base planet first. Zhou Feit asked. Yes, Your Grace. Bai Yin said respectfully, and immediately made the arrangements. When Zhou Feit saw this, he rode the Dragon God of all life back to the planet where the Demon Lord's base was. The Demon Lord base planet, in front of the Supreme God Realm Monument. Zhou Feit was not in a hurry to choose the treasures in the Supreme God Realm Monument. Instead, He first checked the universal race divine artifacts rewarded by the mission. This racial divine artifact was a fiery red cover that emitted a faint heat. Zhou Fight first recognized it as his master before looking over. Race divine artifact name: Fire God Barrier. Equipment grade: low-level racial divine artifact, bound, Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. Race divine artifact ability: Fire God's Heart. Universal race divine artifacts. Living beings protected by the Fire God Barrier have a 10% chance of awakening a fire spirit body during their growth, greatly increasing their cultivation speed. There is a 1% chance of awakening the Fire Supreme Mystic body. He could also awaken the True God Tier talent, Fire Control, as his cultivation speed greatly increases. There is a 0.1% chance of awakening the Fire God's sacred body and having all the advantages of the Fire God. When you advance with the Fire Law in the future, you can advance all the way to the advanced grade Master God Spirit without any bottlenecks. Moreover, when you advance to the Supreme God with the Fire Law, the probability of advancement will increase by 20%. Race divine artifact description: a law treasure created by the law of fire in the myriad worlds. At the same time, it is also a race divine artifact of the fire spirit race. Later on, it was sold to the ultimate void battlefield by the fire spirit race's patriarch. Now it has fallen into the hands of the common people's regal. I don't know if it will be a blessing or a curse in the future. Zhou Fight nodded slightly after reading it. Its attributes were not bad. He put it away, and then began to check the top treasures in the Supreme God Realm Monument. Chapter 1541. 4 Race Divine Artifacts. Mission. War Summary. 1. Zhou Fight looked at the racial divine artifact on the Supreme God Realm Monument. Then, he chose for a moment before finally choosing 4 of the race's divine artifacts. Race Divine Artifact. Creation Immortal Furnace. Top race divine artifact: human life forms sit cross-legged in the Creation Immortal Furnace and are refined with the Qi of creation. There is a high chance that they will sublimate the congenital spiritual root they have, allowing human life forms, who already have the aptitude to cultivate immortality, to have higher talent in cultivation. If this human life form doesn't have the spiritual root, he will definitely be able to create a congenital spiritual root that is most suitable for his physique, giving him the aptitude to cultivate immortality. Required military merits: 10 million military merits, 1 Supreme God Realm Mission Medal. Race Divine Artifact. 9 Directional Immeasurable Flag. Top Race Divine Artifact: a universal race divine artifact. Place it in the territory of the race. It can strengthen the nomological talent of the 9 nomological laws of metal: wood, water, fire, earth, light, darkness, wind, and lightning in the territory of the race. Increases the probability of life forms advancing to the Master God tier through these 9 nomological laws by 10%. Required military merits: 8 million military merits, 5 Supreme Mission Medals. Race Divine Artifact. 36 Holy Heart Demon Statues. Top race divine artifact: facing 36 Holy Heart Demon statues, can sharpen the will of life forms. The highest level of cultivation can nurture the will of life forms to the level of the will divine transformation realm. Required military merits: 6 million military merits, 6 Supreme Mission Medals. Racial Artifact. Fong of Perception. High-level racial artifact: a universal racial artifact. Placing it in the racial territory can increase the dark attribute immunity of creatures in the racial territory and reduce the dark attribute damage received by 20%. Military merit required for redemption: 2 million military merits, 5 Supreme Mission Medals. Zhou Fight looked at his military merits panel after they finished exchanging. He realized that he had already used up all his military merits. There were only 5 Supreme God Mission Medals left. He nodded in satisfaction. Awesome. Then, he looked at the 4 race divine artifacts. Among them, the Creation Immortal Furnace, the 9 Directional Infinite Flag, and the 36 Sacred Heart Demon statues were all race divine artifacts that could increase the upper limit of the growth of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom subjects. Needless to say, he could exchange for this. As for the Fong of Perception, it was a racial divine artifact that could increase the immunity of the subjects of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom to dark attributes. It was also what Zhou Fight needed. After exchanging, Zhou Fight opened the mission interface. He looked at these missions and was thinking about which mission to choose. He suddenly realized that there was an unread message on his personal terminal. He had been too focused on choosing the racial divine artifacts just now and had actually ignored this news. Zhou Fight shook his head and opened the message. 0. Your Majesty, just 3 minutes and 35 seconds ago, the ultimate supreme god of the Lotus Flame War territories led an army of 10 billion to launch a sneak attack on the Blazing Sun Base 3 planet that we had just captured. However, under the protection of our soldiers and supreme god-level defense facilities, the other party did not break through the Blazing Sun No. 3 base planet. Then the other party quickly retreated. Zhou Fight sneered. He was already prepared for such a situation. He had taken down the other party's entire territory after all. It would be strange if the other party did not react. However, he did not expect the other party to be so fast. Just as they left, they followed them. Unfortunately, it didn't work. The territory of the Lotus Flame War territories. Zhou Fight took out the map that the Lord of 10,000 Evils had given him and looked at it. He realized that the Lotus Flame War territories was a war territory that was connected to the Wanlong territory. Like the Wanlong territory, it was a Grade 3 Supreme God Realm War territory. He fell into deep thought when he saw this. As a Grade 3 war territory, he only needed to spend a little effort to take down the Wanlong territory. It was impossible for the ruler of the Lotus Flame War territories not to know this, but he still dared to come. There were only 2 possibilities for this situation. The first possibility was that the ruler of the Lotus Flame War territories had a trump card to deal with him and was confident that he could take him down. The second possibility was that behind this surprise attack, there was not only an enemy from the Lotus Flame War territories, but also enemies from other war territories hiding behind the Lotus Flame War territories. That was why the other party was so confident. You can't act rashly until you have concrete information. Zhou Fight sighed and suddenly muttered to himself with a smile. However, I have easy access to information. He flipped his right hand and saw Bodhi Supreme appear in his hand. Bodhi Supreme, why does the ruler of the Lotus Flame War territories dare to lead troops to attack my Blazing Sun Base 3 planet? Zhou Fight asked. The person in charge of this Lotus Flame War territories is called the Lotus Flame God Lord. He is extremely belligerent and is never afraid of powerful enemies. Therefore, after hearing about you, he immediately wanted to challenge you. This way, he could even obtain the reward of the Void Emperor. However, this Lotus Flame God Lord also knows that you have many supreme gods under your command. He probably can't do anything to you with his military strength alone. Therefore, he specially contacted his good friend, the Fire Poison God Lord of the Fire Poison War territories in the southeast of the Lotus Flame War territories, to join forces to deal with you. That's probably what happened, Bodhi Supreme said lazily. Zhou Fight nodded. As he had expected, the Lotus Flame God Lord had come prepared. However, Zhou Fight was not afraid of him. The Son of Destiny was his greatest confidence. 0. If another enemy attacks, tell me immediately about the situation on the base planet. You can send troops to my place to support our base planet if you are in a hurry. Chapter 1542. 4 Race Divine Artifacts. Mission. War Summary. 2 Zhou Fight said. Yes, Your Grace. 0 said respectfully. Zhou Fight nodded. Then in the mission list in front of him, he simply chose 4 missions and accepted them all. Conquer the Grade 3 Supreme God Realm War territory. Lotus Flame Main City. Grade 3 Supreme God Realm Mission. Conquer the Lotus Flame Main City and the entire Lotus Flame War territories. Elimination Void Great General. Inga Grade 1 Supreme God. Elimination Void Great General. Nika Grade 3 Supreme God Realm. Elimination Void Great General. Aki Grade 2 Supreme God. Elimination Void Great General. Bast Grade 2 Supreme God. Elimination Void Great General Zur Grade 3. Supreme God. Elimination Void Great General. Cha Grade 4 Supreme God. Reward. 15 million military merit points. 5 Supreme God level mission medals. And 1 Book of the Gods. Grade 4 Supreme God. Attack the Void Mystic Realm. Exclusive mission of the Lotus Flame War Territories. Attack the 5 Void Mystic Realms of the Lotus Flame War Territories. Reward. 12 million military merits. 10 Supreme God mission medals. And 1 Universal Race Divine Artifacts. Conquer the Grade 3 Supreme God Realm War Territory. Fire Poison City. Grade 3 Supreme God Realm Mission. Conquer the Fire Poison City and the entire Fire Poison War Territory. Elimination Void Great General. Abu Grade 1 Supreme God. Elimination Void Great General Kawa Grade 2 Supreme God. Elimination Void Great General. Elkin Grade 2 Supreme God. Elimination Void Great General. Aipa Grade 3 Supreme God. Elimination Void Great General. Mayashir, Grade 3 Supreme God. Elimination Void Great General. Aurelio Grade 4 Supreme God. Elimination Void Great General. Fire Poison Grade 4 Supreme God. And be rewarded with 15 million military merit points. 5 Supreme God level mission medals, and 1 Book of the God Spirit. Grade 4 Supreme God Realm. Attack the Void Mystic Realm. Exclusive mission of the Fire Poison War Territory. Attack the 3 Void Mystic Realms of the Fire Poison War Territory. Reward. 10 million military merits, 10 Supreme God mission medals, and 1 Universal Race Divine Artifacts. Zhou Fight looked at the 4 missions he had accepted thoughtfully. The strength of the Lotus Flame War Territories and the Fire Poison War Territories was clearly much stronger than the Myriad Dragon War Territories. However, he shook his head. They would deal with whatever came their way. The other party had already set their target on him. No matter how strong the other party was, he could just fight normally. There was no need to think too much. Then, he thought for a moment and told Lord of 10,000 Evils about the invasion of him by the 2 ultimate void races, Lotus Flame and Fire Poison. The other party was his ally now after all. Exchange of information on war was the most basic duty. After Lord of 10,000 Evils received this news, he did not dare to be negligent and immediately invited Zhou Fight over to discuss how to deal with the attack of the 2 ultimate void races. At the same time, in the Reincarnation Sacred Palace of the Blazing Sun Divine Capital, Zhou was sitting cross-legged on the Dao Comprehension futon and cultivating. A rainbow-colored water droplet floated between his hands. It was the treasure that the Supreme Will had previously rewarded him with, the Source of Will. At this moment, the Source of Will had already been mostly exhausted by Zhou's cultivation. After another hour or so, this drop of will source was completely exhausted. Just as the source of his will was exhausted, boom! A substantial wave of will instantly erupted from Zhou's body and radiated in all directions. In the blink of an eye, this will fluctuation enveloped the entire Blazing Sun Divine World. This will wave stopped after being blocked by the crystal wall of the Divine World. A moment later, the will wave gradually dissipated. Zhou slowly opened his eyes. Then, he sensed his current level of willpower, and a smile appeared on his face. Intermediate stage will Divine Transformation Realm. He muttered as his eyes lit up. Under normal circumstances, even those genius supreme gods would take millions, or even tens of millions of years, to advance from beginner stage of the will Divine Transformation Realm to intermediate stage of the will Divine Transformation Realm. And he actually completed this process in less than a few days with the help of this source of will. It was simply a miracle. This source of will is simply a supreme treasure to increase the level of will. It's a pity there's only 1 drop. Zhou shook his head regretfully. If he had enough willpower sources, he could completely advance to the limit of the will Divine Transformation Realm without any obstruction. That would save a lot of time. As for breaking through to the Supreme Will Realm, at the will Divine Transformation Realm, it was not something that could be resolved with a simple source of will. Zhou did not know how to advance to the Supreme Will level. However, he was in no hurry. He was still too far away from the level of Supreme Will. As a reserve army of the Supreme Lord, He would naturally know what he needed to know when he reached that level. If there was really no other way, he could just ask the Supreme Will. Then, he looked at his personal terminal and realized that there was only one war report. Zhou opened it and looked over. Under the joint efforts of the two armies of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom, the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom had eliminated a total of 210 beginner-level Divine Kingdom Lord factions, 121 intermediate-grade Divine Kingdom Lord factions, 88 high-level Divine Kingdom Lord factions, and 22 Overlord-level Lord factions. In addition, on the Ultimate Void battlefield, Zhou Fight and Lord of 10,000 Evils had eliminated the enemies in the 3 Void Mystic Realms. They had eliminated more than 500 people of foreign races in the capital units, more than 50 billion God spirits, more than 300 million true God tiers, more than 30,000 Master God tiers of the people of foreign races, and 22 Ultimate Void Supreme Gods. After collating the statistics, the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom had obtained a total of 8 million mist cores of various levels, origin crystals, skill books, equipment and basic materials from the capital units today. 3,912,239,823,923,341 green bronze tier Lord Talent crystal fragments. 2,315,341 legendary tier and below Lord Talent spheres. A large number of Lord Talent crystal fragments of other levels. There were also 612 capital units, 2,917,384,750 million units of divine crystals, from low-tier deity level to high-tier deity level. 134, 198, 432, 01 true God tier divine crystals. 91, 2,089, 21 million master God tier divine crystals. 10,344,892 grade 1 to grade 3 supreme God divine crystals. 1 capital units, 1,983, 234, 312, 89 million low-tier to high-tier deity-level divine artifacts. 3 for 23, 94 million true God-tier divine artifacts. 2,341,298 master God-tier divine artifacts. 23,482 supreme God divine artifacts. There were a total of about 1 capital unit, 113, for 92, 34 million divine spark fragments, God tier herbs, God tier ingredients, God tier ores, God tier blueprints, and other treasures. 521,492,382,138 master God tier herbs, God tier ingredients, God tier ores, God tier blueprints, and other treasures. 1,042,110 supreme God level God tier herbs, God tier ingredients, God tier ores, God tier blueprints, and other treasures. In terms of insight defection, Zhou Fight had induced a total of 10,734,336,108 God spirits, 520,342,340 true gods, 15,123 master gods, and 2 supreme gods through the Sun of Destiny in the Sky Void Mystic Realm. In addition, the Lords of the Star Alliance had also instigated 129 capital unit soldiers, more than 412 million God spirits, more than 100,000 true gods, and 77 master gods. In the end, in terms of the advancement of God spirits, a total of 12,123,487,843 legendary tier advanced grade soldiers had advanced to low-tier deity-level elementary grade God spirit. There were also 219,873 high-tier deity-level advanced grade God spirits, who had advanced to true God-tier elementary grade God spirits. Another 341 top-notch true gods of the human race, and 401 top-notch true gods of the people of foreign races, felt their master God-tier bottleneck, and applied to enter the reincarnation sacred palace, to cultivate in seclusion, to try to break through to the master God tier realm. Under normal circumstances, he would officially break through tomorrow. Zhou's original military strength was 1,914 capital units, 721,348,323,488,253 soldiers. 31,723,973,942 God spirits. 235,215,256 true gods. 10,057 master gods. And 8 supreme gods. Now, with the addition of these divine spirit experts who had instigated insight defection, the military strength under him had reached 2,043 capital units, 721,341,663,488,253 soldiers, 42,870,310,500 God spirits, 755,657,596 true gods, 25,257 master gods, and 10 supreme gods. Zhou nodded in satisfaction after reading it. The number of soldiers under him had officially broken through to 2,000 capital units. The number of God spirits had reached 4 million. There were 700 million true gods. There were also more than 20,000 master gods. The number of supreme gods had officially reached 10. This kind of military strength was completely not inferior to Lord of 10,000 evils. It might have even exceeded his strength. Chapter 1543, Upgrading the Territory. Zhou closed the battle report and disappeared with a thought. Zhou's figure slowly appeared in the sky above the blazing sun divine kingdom. He looked at the blazing sun divine capital below and silently chanted the advancement in his heart. In the next second, as 800 Gai units of basic materials, 1,000 master god tier elementary grade divine crystals, 10 capital units origin crystals, 500 chaos divine treasures, and 3 ultimate void crystals disappeared instantly. A text notification appeared. Congratulations, your true god tier Lord's Law has successfully advanced to the master god tier elementary grade godly kingdom, Lord's Law. Your territory has successfully upgraded to a master god tier elementary grade territory. Your true god tier advanced grade all methods origin array has been upgraded to master god tier elementary grade mixed essence 1 heart array. Durability of territory stone steel increased to 10 capital units / 10 capital units. Your territory has expanded to 1 trillion km times 1 trillion km times 20 million kilometers. All fog monsters within the territory of the new territory have been expelled. Scarlet fog will not appear in any of your territories. You have received an upgrade reward. Mythical tier building blueprint treasure chest. Elementary grade of master god tier. Lord talent notification. Your Scarlet Brood Mother can be upgraded. Lord talent hint. Your mysterious caravan faction has increased. Lord talent notification. The strength of the clergy of your life arc has increased. In the next second, an even more dignified and loud voice sounded. Lord of all race announcement 1. Congratulations to the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom, advanced. Blazing Sun God Lord for becoming the first Lord to upgrade his territory to Master God tier elementary grade. Reward. Supreme Treasure Chest +1. Mythical Reputation Rating +1000, Reputation Rating +1 million, Unique Title of the Race. Glory of the Pioneer 12 has advanced to Glory of the Pioneer 13. All Race Lord announcement. Congratulations to the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom, high level. God Lord Blazing Sun. All Race Lord announcement. Congratulations to the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom, high level. God Lord Blazing Sun. Lord of all race announcement 2. Ever since the Blazing Sun God Lord has established a new territory for the Lord, the territories of all the Lords can be upgraded to the Master God tier advanced grade. The Lords can be upgraded by checking the information of the territory. Lord of all race announcement 3. In order to congratulate Blazing Sun God Lord on creating a new chapter for the Lords of all races, you are specially rewarded with 1 Premier Heart, 3 Supreme Hearts. The authority of the Supreme Lord Reserve Army had increased. This voice resounded throughout the myriad worlds. All the life forms in the myriad worlds, even those non-living substances, had vaguely remembered this sentence. When they became life forms one day, this sentence would appear in their hearts again. The living beings who heard this looked at the sky in shock, as if they had heard something unbelievable. Your Excellency, the great common people's regal again. A master god-tier territory has actually been established on the territory of a true god-tier advance grade? There's actually a master god-tier kingdom above the divine kingdom lords? All of this was brought about by Your Excellency Common People's Regal. Common People's Regal? It's unbelievable. He is clearly the newly promoted 4th Reserve. Now, he has actually become the pioneer of Master God-tier territories and Master God-tier kingdoms. This is something that even the 3 lords couldn't do. The Common People's Regal has the potential of a Supreme Lord. Isn't it just establishing a Master God-tier territory and a Master God-tier kingdom? What's there to talk about? Your Excellency God King Heaven Punishment fought with the Supreme Will and the illusionist clan day and night. What contributions does the Common People's Regal have? Previous poster, it's so sour. Previous poster, why don't you say how long has it been since Common People's Regal became a Supreme Lord Reserve Army? The living beings in the myriad worlds were discussing the fact that there were Master God-tier territories and Master God kingdoms above the territories of true God-tier advance grades. To ordinary life forms, this matter did not have much to do with them. However, to lords, especially the lords of the divine kingdoms, this matter had a huge impact. After they learned of this news, they almost immediately began to look up the requirements to advance to the Master God-tier territory and the Master God-tier kingdom. Then they were dumbfounded. Chaotic secret realm? What is this? There's a chaos divine treasure in the void mystic realm? Are you kidding me? Do you think you can enter that danger zone so easily? Even if a supreme god enters, he might not be able to leave alive. The requirements for advancement are too high. If I don't advance, I won't advance. I suddenly feel that it's not bad to be the master of a divine kingdom. The rulers of the various divine kingdoms had their own thoughts about advancing to the Master God-tier territory and the Master God-tier kingdom. Some god lords wanted to climb to the peak and take another step forward. There were also god lords who wanted to pursue stability and protect their own land. More god lords were worried about the future. Once the Master God-tier territory and the Master God-tier kingdom appeared, there would definitely be a new bloodbath between the top divine kingdoms in the future. At the same time, in the River of Time, a white-robed life form was fishing on a lone boat. The surroundings of him were filled with surging and beautiful waves. It was not an ordinary wave, but a space-time wave formed by the turbulent collision of the River of Time. Even a will-level existence would not dare to rashly step into the dangers within. However, this white-robed life form did not seem to realize the danger. It closed its eyes and fished leisurely, as if it was on a calm sea. At this moment, his fishing line trembled slightly. The white-robed life form suddenly opened its eyes. With a light flick, the fishing rod leaped up and landed in front of the white-robed life form with the treasure on the hook. The white-robed life form looked at the golden pancake-shaped treasure that was emitting a level 2 Supreme God artifact in front of him. He shook his head and casually threw it into the fish basket beside him. Just as he was about to fish again, his expression changed slightly before he laughed. He actually created a Lord faction level above the Divine Kingdom Lord faction? This little guy is really going to be recorded in the epic tier of the heavens. I never expected a small epic tier Lord talent owner to reach this stage. When I first awakened my Lord talent, I awakened the mythical tier 1 and only Lord talent. However, in terms of achievements at the same time, I'm afraid I can't compare to this common people's regal. Lord Supreme Will's Lord of All Races contest is really effective. But I played a big part in it. I caught this fish myself after all. The white-robed life form laughed. After laughing, he swung his rod leisurely again and caught fish countless times. In the land of dusk, the setting sun was like blood. The two armies were fighting each other in the land of dusk. One of the armies looked strange, but their appearance had two obvious main characteristics. That was, his appearance was either very scary or extremely dignified. There would always be one characteristic. It was so terrifying that if ordinary life forms saw it, they would probably immediately become the other party's shadow for the rest of their lives. If ordinary life forms saw him, they would remember him for the rest of their lives. They were the illusionist clan. Chapter 1544. God King Heaven Punishment. The Glory of the Pioneer 13. As for the faction army that was fighting him, their bodies were made of lightning. They wore lightning armor, held lightning spears in their hands, and carried lightning arrows on their backs. With a wave of their hands, thousands of lightning bolts were born. Purple firmament divine lightning, Deuteon divine lightning, 5 elements divine lightning, annihilation divine lightning, crimson firmament demon lightning, chaos origin lightning. All kinds of lightning even formed various supreme lightning soldier types. Wherever they passed, the illusionist clan couldn't resist the attack of the God of Thunder army at all. They died one batch after another. It was the heavenly punishment army of the Supreme Lord's first reserve army, God King Heaven Punishment. However, even though the soldiers of the heavenly punishment army were brave, the illusionist clan seemed endless. After a batch of them died, more illusionist clan would emerge from the void and join the battlefield. This also led to the overall situation of the battle not being alleviated, even though the Thunder God army was clearly looking down on them on the battlefield. In fact, it was becoming more and more anxious. The anxious situation on the battlefield and the increasing number of enemies of the illusionist clan did not make the God King Heaven Punishment and the Heavenly Punishment army lose their sense of propriety. They were like cold and emotionless war machines, killing the illusionist clan's army in front of them mercilessly and regularly, as if they would never tire. In the army of the illusionist clan, a burly god spirit in scarlet lightning armor, holding a heavenly punishment holy spear, and a world-destroying lightning crown was waving the heavenly punishment holy spear unscrupulously and pouring the heavenly punishment holy lightning in his body to kill the surrounding illusionary army. The surrounding illusionist clan had long been enraged by the other party's arrogant actions. Therefore, they sent a large number of experts of the illusionist clan to besiege God King Heaven Punishment. However, no matter how many experts the illusionist clan sent, and how many trump cards they used to deal with God King Heaven Punishment, God King Heaven Punishment could easily kill the enemies and destroy their trump cards. He acted recklessly. He was tyrannical. He was powerless. He was the center of the entire battlefield, an existence that all the god spirits paid attention to. The illusionist clan could do nothing but watch helplessly as the enemies slaughtered their army. Even though the illusionist clan was not afraid of death, they had to pay a certain price to be resurrected. If this went on, the price the illusionist clan would have to pay would be terrifying. At this moment, the God King Heaven Punishment was stunned. As he casually sent the oncoming enemy flying, he smiled in surprise. That fourth brother of mine actually created a Master God tier territory and a Master God tier kingdom? Ha ha ha, good. This is what we Supreme Lord Reserve Army should be like. I hope that he can come to the Land of Dusk as soon as possible. It's really boring with only me and the Supreme Army in the Land of Dusk. God King Heaven Punishment was very happy. The heavenly punishment holy lightning in the sky moved in response. More than 10 supreme gods were struck to death by the holy lightning accompanied by his emotional fluctuations. Among them, there was even a grade 4 supreme god. Sir, why are you so happy? That common people's regal is your competitor. The person who told God King Heaven Punishment this news was very surprised when he heard God King Heaven Punishment's words. So what if he's a competitor? Isn't it just the position of the Supreme Lord? If he really has the ability, what's the harm in giving the position to him? The God King Heaven Punishment replied casually as he faced the enemy. Then, his expression suddenly turned firm. My highest goal has always been to transcend. Competing for the position of Supreme Lord is just my way of transcending. If there's another way to make it easier for me to transcend, I will abandon my so-called status as the Supreme Lord Reserve Army without hesitation and use that method. Ha 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 ha, compared to transcendence, what's the so-called Supreme Lord position? He laughed out loud. Sir, aren't you afraid that the Supreme will know what you're saying? His subordinate asked in fear. I've followed the Supreme Will for so many years. Do you think the Supreme Will doesn't understand what I'm thinking? The God King Heaven Punishment asked. His subordinates fell silent. At the same time, Zhou looked at the announcement before him and was naturally very satisfied and happy. He was now considered an expert who had created a new history in the myriad worlds. Unlike before, in the eyes of other god spirits, he was just a rising star who had suddenly risen. There was a huge difference between the two. Then, he looked at the reward in the announcement. The first was the new title rewarded. Title: Glory of the Pioneer 13. Title quality: Unique title of the race. Title effect 1. You are famous among the Cerulean planet lords. More people admire your reputation and yearn to join your territory. The number of subjects you can summon through the gate of summoning every day plus 1,200%. Professional talents of the same level as the territory among the subjects summoned plus 13. Title effect 2, same as before. Title effect 3. When you become the first myriad realm lords with a grade 1 supreme god territory, this title will be upgraded to Glory of the Pioneer 14 and unlock more title effects. Zhou nodded in satisfaction after reading it. However, the number of subjects he could summon had increased by 13 times. In addition, among the subjects summoned, there were 14 professional talents of the same level as the territory, which meant he could summon 14 Master God tier elementary grade god spirits tomorrow morning. A Master God tier existence was a clan-protecting expert. Now he could summon 14 of them every day. If all the races in the world heard this, especially those races that did not even have a Master God, wouldn't they be envious to death? Even though to the current Zhou, a Lord God was not considered a rare expert, who wouldn't be happy to freeload. Then, his gaze landed on title effect 3. A look of surprise appeared in his eyes as he muttered, "There's actually a supreme territory above the Master God tier territory? Then after upgrading to a grade 1 supreme god territory, wouldn't I be able to summon 15 supreme gods every day?" Tisk! Zhou gasped at the thought of this. That was summoning 15 supreme god tier powerhouses every day. There were only about 10,000 supreme divine level experts in the entire supreme great cosmos. In other words, he only needed to summon for less than 3 years, and he would have more supreme god experts than the entire supreme great cosmos combined. What if it was upgraded to a supreme will territory? Didn't that mean that he could summon a supreme will level existence? Zhou shuddered. Good God! That shouldn't be possible, right? How many supreme will level existences were there in the entire supreme great cosmos? If he could really summon supreme will level existences as his subjects every day, in less than 3 to 4 days, the supreme will level existences under his command might even be much stronger than supreme wills. How could that be possible? Zhou hurriedly shook his head and abandoned this thought. Then, he looked at the supreme treasure chest. Chapter 1545, Wonder, Jade Capital Units Immortal Mountain, Premier Heart. Wait. 1. Zhou directly ignored the reputation rating and mythical reputation rating for Zhou since he was a reserve army of the Supreme Lord. He opened the Supreme Treasure Chest. A model of a mountain was quietly placed inside. Even though this mountain was only a model, with a rough look one could feel its towering, majestic, and dangerous aura. It was beautiful upon closer inspection, like the legendary Supreme Immortal Mountain, giving people endless imagination. Zhou looked at it for a second before a text notification appeared. Wonder name, Jade Capital Immortal Mountain. Wonder grade, Grade 4 Supreme God Level Wonder. Spectacular effect, Jade Capital Immortal God. Offer 10 low-tier deity level elementary grade divine crystals to Jade Capital Immortal Mountain to summon a Class 2 Advanced Soldier. Heavenly Soldier, with a 10% chance of summoning a Class 3 Advanced Soldier. Heavenly General, and a 0.1% chance of summoning a Class 4 Advanced Soldier. Heavenly Lord. The number of summons depends on the territory level. Current territory level, low-tier deity level elementary grade. Current upper limit of summoning Jade Capital Heavenly Soldiers, 0 out of 100. Wonder evaluation. White Jade City in the sky, 12th floor 5 cities. Immortals caress my head, tie my hair and receive eternal life. Zhou's eyes lit up. This was actually a wonder, and its wonder effect was actually to summon supreme soldier types. He began to think, what a spectacle! Ever since Zhou started fighting the myriad races, he had obtained a lot of such things from them. Especially after conquering the original spirit race, the shepherd's god race, and the chaos god's race. The total number of wonders these three races had reached more than 10,000. It looks like a lot, but there weren't many of them. They were the three top bloodline races under countless subsidiary races after all. The three of them combined only had tens of thousands of wonders. It could be seen how rare wonders were. However, even though Zhou had grasped many wonders, he didn't care much after knowing the effects of those wonders. Most of them were equivalent to extraordinary tier and other epic tier lord talents. To the current him, the mythical tier lord talent was only worthy of his attention. Only the supreme unique lord talent was worthy of his attention. The wonder effect of this jade capital immortal mountain was definitely comparable to a supreme unique lord talent. He took a closer look at this wonder effect and then muttered to himself, it can summon Class 2 Supreme Soldier type, Heavenly Soldier Class 3 Supreme Soldier type, Heavenly General, and Class 4 Supreme Soldier type, Heavenly Lord. The number of summons is currently 100 capital units. It can increase the upper limit of the number of summons as the territory level increases. As for the summoning price, it's an astonishing 10 low-tier deity level elementary grade divine crystals. This summoning is so d*m expensive. In terms of overall evaluation, it's not bad. It's not a good reward. At least for me, it's not a good reward. Zhou pondered. He currently had two supreme soldier types, the Supreme God Realm Soldier and the Supreme Holy Mage God. As top-notch soldiers, they were all Class 4 Supreme Soldier types. Furthermore, he could harvest 800 Supreme God Realm Soldiers and new recruits from the capital units and the Supreme Holy Mage God every day through the Scarlet Brood Mother. Under such circumstances, the Jade Capital Immortal Mountain, which was considered extremely precious to Lord of 10,000 Evils, could only be said to be alright to Zhou. Then, he didn't think too much about it, and flew out of the Reincarnation Sacred Palace with the model of the Jade Capital Immortal Mountain. He glanced at the territory of the Blazing Sun Divine Capital. And now, the Blazing Sun Divine Capital's capital occupied an area. After the territory upgraded, it shockingly increased to the terrifying level of 10 grains. There were many empty spaces now, so there were many places where Mount Yujing could be placed. Zhou thought for a few seconds and suddenly reacted. He immediately sent his spiritual will into the model of Jade Capital Immortal Mountain in his hand. Soon, he retracted his divine sense and shook his head. It turned out that Jade Capital Immortal Mountain did not need to be placed in the real world. As a Class 4 Supreme God level wonder, after the owner placed it in a position, it would naturally open up a boundless universe exclusive to it and let it stay there. If that's the case, put it in the southeast corner of the Blazing Sun Divine Capital. Zhou picked a spot with few people and threw it over. As soon as the Jade Capital Immortal Mountain left his hand, it turned into a white light and fused into the space. Then it opened a world in the space. In just a short while, a boundless universe was opened up. After the boundless universe was established, the Jade Capital Immortal Mountain, which was originally just a model, began to grow rapidly. In less than a moment, the size of the Jade Capital Immortal Mountain had reached an extremely terrifying level. The area alone was more than a square kilometer, and the height was measured in light years. He lay across the boundless universe that he had created. It was surrounded by many middle worlds and small worlds. It was like the ancestor of the heavens, but also like a supreme pillar. Zhou looked at the majestic divine mountain and could not help but exclaim inwardly. However, he had not forgotten his goal. He flipped his right hand and saw a world ring appear in his hand. In the world ring, there were densely packed low-tier deity level elementary grade divine crystals. The total number had already reached the level of 1,000 low-tier deity level elementary grade divine crystals in the capital units. This was undoubtedly an astonishing amount of wealth. Even Zhou could not help but feel his heart ache when he saw the ring filled with divine crystals in his hand. This is me. The daily gains from the war far exceed 1,000 low-tier deity-level elementary grades in the capital units. Chapter 1546, Wonder, Jade Capital Units Immortal Mountain. Premier Heart. Wait. 2. If it were any other Supreme God-level faction, even Lord of 10,000 Evils probably wouldn't easily make up his mind to exchange 1,000 divine crystals for 100 Supreme soldiers from the capital units, right? He might not be able to change every day even if he had the courage to change. Zhou shook his head. Fortunately, he had enough divine crystals. Then, he threw the world rings towards the distant Jade Capital Immortal Mountain. A minute after the world rings fell into the Jade Capital Immortal Mountain, the Jade Capital Immortal Mountain suddenly lit up with a faint golden light. Then, the golden light became brighter and brighter. In less than a moment, the golden light that lit up the Jade Capital Immortal Mountain was so bright that even Master God Tier could not open their eyes. Zhou did not use the king to increase his strength, but he had an extremely powerful constitution that was infinitely close to the Grade 1 Supreme Sacred Body. Therefore, he could narrow his eyes and see the golden light clearly. Right at that moment, streams of light flew out of the Jade Capital Immortal Mountain. They flew in front of him, like meteors that filled the sky, and reorganized the army formation in the blink of an eye. There were as many as 100 capital units. It was also divided into 3 parts according to the level of the soldier type. The last one was a Class 2 Supreme Soldier type, Heavenly Soldier. They wore the Great Sun Helmet and the Golden Crow Armor. They held the glorious Gold Divine Spear and carried the Divine Arrow of E on their backs. There were 90 capital units. In the middle was a Class 3 Supreme Soldier type, Heavenly General. They wore 5-element helmets, Yin-Yang General Armor, dragon-slaying divine swords at their waists, and sunset divine bows on their backs. There were nearly 10 capital units. At the front was a Class 4 Supreme Soldier type, Heavenly Venerate. Heavenly Sovereigns did not have a fixed uniform unlike Heavenly Soldiers and Heavenly Generals. Some of them wore old hibiscus hats and held tattered cattail fans. They wore common clothes and looked like wandering monks. However, when they walked, they were protected by the solemn and sacred dragon subduing treasure light. Some were handsome children with male and female appearances, but they carried flaming divine spears on their backs. They were surrounded by red ribbons and stood on firestorm wheels. Their black eyes were cold and heartless. Some wore golden armor and had wings on their backs. They held 2 halberds and were surrounded by lightning and fire. Their sharp auras made people not dare to look at them directly. They each had their own clothes. Even though they looked irregular, one could tell at a glance that the image of a powerhouse and their innate noble temperament were things that Heavenly Venerate and Heavenly Generals did not have. All kinds of Heavenly Venerate were very eye-catching. They had the least number, but they also had a total of 1 capital units. Greetings, Your Majesty. The Heavenly Soldiers, Heavenly Generals, and Heavenly Venerates said respectfully in unison. Zhou smiled and nodded. Then, he looked at them, and suddenly had an idea. He called over a Supreme God Realm Soldier, and a Supreme Holy Mage God. Then, he casually chose 2 Heavenly Venerates from the Heavenly Venerates, and let them fight against the Supreme God Realm Soldier, and the Supreme Holy Mage God separately. The results surprised Zhou. This was because even though the Supreme God Realm Soldiers, the Supreme Holy Mage God, and the Heavenly Venerate were both Class 4 Supreme Soldier types, when they fought one-on-one, the Heavenly Venerate actually won the Supreme God Realm Soldier and the Supreme Holy Mage God in a 1v1. When the Supreme God Realm Soldier and the Supreme Holy Mage God joined forces to deal with the 2 Heavenly Venerates, it could be seen that they had salvaged a slight disadvantage in the battle. However, this disadvantage was not enough for them to win. In the end, they were still defeated by the 2 Heavenly Venerates. Zhou thought for a few seconds, and carried out a few more experiments, and got a result. As top-notch soldier types, The heavenly venerates were better at fighting alone, not in groups. Of course, this place was not good at group battles. It was only relative to other Class 4 Supreme Soldier types. For Supreme Soldiers below Class 3, after they joined forces, they could still easily defeat them. In terms of group battles, especially when the number of troops on both sides reached 100 capital units, 50 capital units Supreme God Realm Soldiers, and 50 capital units Supreme Holy Mage Gods could easily defeat 100 capital units Heavenly Venerates on the battlefield. The Heavenly Venerates had no room to fight back at all. Zhou nodded slightly after understanding this. In that case, the Heavenly Venerates were not inferior to the Supreme God Realm Soldiers, and the Supreme Holy Mage God at all. Then, he returned to the Reincarnation Sacred Palace, and began to check the Supreme Hearts and Supreme Hearts awarded by the Supreme Will. First was the Premier Heart. The Premier Heart was a pure white one-eyed seal with its eyes closed. It emitted a faint white light and an invisible and dignified aura, causing Zhou Fight to be secretly shocked. What is this treasure? Why does this aura resemble the Supreme Will? Premier Heart? Could it be related to the Supreme Will? Many guesses instantly surfaced in his mind. Then, he looked at the specific information of the Premier Heart. But when he saw this, he was immediately shocked. Treasure name: Premier Heart, Treasure Grade. Supreme Will level. Treasure effect. After absorbing it, the strength and level of the absorbers will slowly increase with time. The highest level can be increased to the limit of the Will Divine Transformation Realm. Moreover, when the absorber advances from the Will Divine Transformation Realm to the Supreme Will level, the probability of the absorber advancing to the Supreme will increase by 10%. Treasure description: a supreme treasure refined by the Supreme Will from many Supreme Will level treasures to increase the power of the will and level. Even in the hands of the Supreme Will, it is quite rare. It is a sacred artifact that countless Supreme Gods can only hope for. Zhou was stunned. This was actually another treasure that could increase the level of his will. Chapter 1547. Wonder. Jade Capital Units Immortal Mountain. Premier Heart. Wait. 3. And it was even more precious than the last time. The source of his will rewarded by the Supreme Will last time could at most raise his will to the mid-stage Will Divine Transformation Realm. The Supreme Heart this time could actually increase the power of his will to the limit of the Will Divine Transformation Realm. It could even increase the probability of successfully advancing from the Will Divine Transformation Realm to the Supreme Will by 10% in the future. This Premier Heart is simply a supreme treasure. Even the Supreme Will would be envious, right? Zhou thought to himself. Which Supreme Will did not want to personally nurture another subordinate at the level of Supreme Will after all? Oh boy! Zhou sighed and placed it on his chest without hesitation. The next second, the Premier Heart suddenly emitted a resplendent white light. After the light dissipated, it had already fused into Zhou's will, turning into wisps of pure willpower that increased the strength and level of his willpower. Zhou closed his eyes in sense for a while. Then, he slowly opened his eyes and said happily, "This is the Premier Heart? It's amazing." Only the God spirits who had fused with the Premier Heart understood how shocking the effect of the Premier Heart on the increase in willpower was. It could be said that Zhou could complete the journey that other God spirits needed countless years to complete in a short period of time with it. As expected of a treasure that could make countless Supreme Gods go crazy, he was a Master God tier advanced grade God spirit who could use such a treasure. If word got out, the other Supreme Gods would probably want to kill him. He smiled and looked at the Supreme Hearts. As a grade 1 Supreme God treasure, the effect of the Supreme Hearts was similar to the Premier Heart. However, the Supreme Hearts could at most raise the level of will to the limit of will like light. After that, it could help the will like light God spirit advance to the Will Divine Transformation Realm. But it could only increase the success rate by 10%. Zhou threw it into the military merit exchange system. After reading that, he believed that many of the generals under he would be interested in it. Then, he looked at the last reward. The reserve army of the Supreme Lord has increased. What did this mean? Zhou did not understand the specific meaning of this sentence. The next second, a text notification appeared. Supreme Will notification. The increase in the reserve weight of the Supreme Lord can increase your ranking. If your weight increases to a certain extent, you can surpass the Lord of 10,000 evils and become the third reserve army of the Supreme Lord. If you surpass the Spring-Autumn Dharma Lord and the God King Heaven Punishment, you can become the first reserve of the Supreme Lord. If your weight far exceeds the other 3 Supreme Lord reserve armies, I can directly promote you to the Supreme Lord. Zhou came to a realization. It turned out that weight had such a meaning. Other than increasing the chances of becoming a Supreme Lord, are there any other benefits to this weight? Zhou asked again. Supreme Will notification. I will send one to God King Heaven Punishment every once in a while. Zhou, I'm so envious. So this is the authority of the Supreme Lord's first reserve army? Zhou's heart burned. He had to increase the authority of his Supreme Lord Reserve Army. Supreme Will notification. You will be the third reserve army of the Supreme Will after you resolve the problem of the ultimate void battlefield. I will prepare a rank advancement gift for you. I hope you won't disappoint me. Okay. Zhou nodded seriously. Chapter 1548, Chaotic Mystic Realm. Advancing to the Master God Tier Kingdom. 5 Elements Star. 1. Raising my ranking is really a tempting goal. Zhou thought. Then, he shook his head and stopped thinking about it. He opened the territory interface and checked the requirements for the territory to be upgraded to the Master God Tier Intermediate Grade territory. Construction upgrade. 500 Gai units of wood, 500 Gai units of thin sand, 500 Gai units of metal, 500 Gai units of stone, 5,000 divine crystals of Master God Tier Advanced Grade, 50 capital units origin crystals, 1,000 chaos divine treasures, 10 advanced divine kingdoms, 50 Master God Tier Intermediate Grade God spirits, 50 million racial heroes. Zhou's gaze swept over and finally landed on the 1,000 units of chaos divine treasure. The corners of his mouth twitched, and he could still satisfy the other conditions. Only with the Chaos Divine Treasures request did he only have 70 units left after upgrading his territory. In other words, he still needed a total of 930 Chaos Divine Treasures to upgrade his territory to the Master God Tier Intermediate Grade. 930 units of Chaos Divine Treasure. This is only the territory that has advanced to the Master God Tier Intermediate Grade. How many Chaos Divine Treasures will it take to advance to an Advanced Grade Master God Tier, or even a Supreme Territory in the future? Will the future Chaotic Divine Demon be killed by me? Who did the Chaos God's race offend? Oh, it's a remnant of the Chaos Will era. Then it's fine. Zhou muttered in his heart. Fortunately, there was now an additional Void Mystic Realm, which was also the source of a Chaos Divine Treasure. Otherwise, he would probably be worried. Then, he opened the Lord channel and the battle channel of the myriad races and looked at their comments on him, achieving the first Master God Tier territory and the Master God Tier kingdom. This had already become his habit. He nodded in satisfaction after watching for a while. Bootlicking and then bragging about me. You're so bold talking online. So where's the talent you usually cursed in the channel? Apart from praising him, Zhou also noticed that some god spirits were complaining about the difficulty of establishing a Master God Tier territory. Zhou was even happier when he saw this. There was a sense of pleasure in it. Then, he saw some god spirits discussing the topic of the Chaotic Mystic Realm. Chaotic Secret Realm? Zhou's attention was immediately attracted. He immediately opened the Territory Information Interface and quickly found the notification information of the Chaotic Mystic Realm. The Chaotic Mystic Realm was actually a time ruins according to the notification on it. After the Lord found the Time Mystic Realm, he could go to the past and come to the Chaotic Era, which was the most prosperous era for the Chaotic Divine Demons. In the Chaotic Era in the Time Ruins, there were different numbers of Chaotic Divine Demons. Lords could kill these chaotic divine demons and obtain chaotic divine treasures. However, there was a special hint here. There was a limited number of such time ruins in the Supreme Great Cosmos, and there were quite a number of high-level divine kingdoms. Therefore, in order to prevent the time ruins from being monopolized by the most powerful lord of the divine kingdom, the Supreme Will deliberately stipulated that the lord of the divine kingdom could only have one time ruins at the same time. If he forcefully plundered the time ruins of other chaotic divine demons, he would be stripped of his status as a lord. This punishment was very serious. In any case, Zhou did not dare to plunder more time ruins after reading them. The time ruins, he began to think. He was familiar with this thing. His first powerful soldier type was the high-level soldier type of the elves obtained from the time ruins back then. Bai Yun's heroic inheritance, the Bloodfire Arrow Elf, was also obtained from it. He also met Nadia there. I must obtain the chaotic divine demon's time ruins. However, according to these lords of the divine kingdom, the first difficulty in obtaining them is to find them. However, it wasn't too difficult for me. Zhou smiled. Then, he flipped his right hand, and the Bodhi Supreme appeared in his hand. The Bodhi Supreme Encyclopedia to the rescue again. What are you thinking? The Bodhi Supreme sensed something sensitively. Encyclopedia? No, Bodhi Supreme, I'm not thinking about anything. Zhou denied and asked. Bodhi Supreme, do you know where the nearest time ruin that can produce a chaos divine treasure is? An answer to an ordinary question. The Bodhi Supreme commented. Zhou nodded. This was not even a chance to answer an official question, so there was naturally no hesitation. The Bodhi Supreme did not say anything else. Then an illusory star map appeared in front of Zhou. It was the star map of the entire Supreme Great Cosmos. At the edge of the Supreme Great Cosmos star chart was a dot emitting a faint white light. Zhou took a look and realized something. Isn't this the Chaos Sea? He asked in surprise. Then, he felt that it made sense for some reason. The time point was a time ruin of the Chaos era. There seemed to be a reason for it to appear in the Chaos Sea. The Bodhi Supreme also said calmly, most of the time ruins appeared near the original site of the ruins back then. Even though the Chaos Sea is located at the edge of the Supreme Great Cosmos, this is the core territory of the chaotic universe in the era of the Chaos Will. A large number of chaotic divine demons once lived here. It's too normal for a time ruin from the chaotic era to appear here. Zhou nodded. Then, he suddenly had an idea. Since the Chaos Sea was once the core territory of the chaotic universe back then, doesn't that mean that there will be other time ruins of the chaotic era appearing here? So what if I am? You can only have one time ruin of the chaotic era running at any one time. Chapter 1549, Chaotic Mystic Realm. Advancing to the Master God Tier Kingdom. 5 Elements Star. 2. The Bodhi Supreme commented. You're right, but the Chaos Sea is my territory now. The other divine kingdoms would mainly want to come to the Chaos Sea to obtain the Chaos divine treasures that can advance to the Master God Tier territory, and the Master God Tier country as my territory. It shouldn't be a problem for me to collect a ticket fee from them, right? In addition, it won't be a problem for me to pay divine crystals and divine artifacts to buy Chaos divine treasures from them when they appear from the Chaos Sea, right? The Supreme Will only doesn't allow us to possess the ruins of multiple Chaos eras, but it didn't say that it doesn't allow us to buy Chaos divine treasures from the masters of other divine kingdoms. The Bodhi Supreme was speechless. After a while he said, I've just asked the Supreme Will. You could certainly do that, but I'd like to remind you of 2 things. First, you can charge a ticket fee, but the ticket fee must be reasonable and not too expensive. Secondly, you can only exchange Chaos divine treasures with each other, and not forcefully buy or sell them. If you violate these 2 points, you will also touch the bottom line of the Supreme Will. The Supreme Will hopes that more Master God Tier territories and Master God Tier countries will appear after you. It will be bad not only for the Supreme Will, but also for your future development if you prevent their development. Zhou had some guesses when he heard that, but he didn't say anything. He only nodded and smiled. Don't worry. I care about my reputation too. Buying and selling by force to earn money that goes against my conscience. I'm not so despicable as a reserve army of the Supreme Lord. Bodhi Supreme did not say anything and agreed with Zhou. Having followed Zhou for so long, he naturally knew what kind of person he was. He knew that Zhou's words should not be fake. Then, Zhou put away the Bodhi Supreme and ordered someone to call Zheng Yuanqi over. The current Zheng Yuanqi had a high position in the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. His strength had already been forcefully raised to the true God tier level under the nurturing of the Divine Kingdom. He could have restored his youthful appearance, but after recovering for a period of time, he seemed to have thought of something and transformed himself back. He still looked like an old wise man, identical to when he first came to Blazing Sun City. Greetings, Your Majesty. Zheng Yuanqi chuckled. Zhou nodded. Then, he told him about the admission fee and the purchase of the Chaos Divine Treasure from the Divine Kingdom Lords and asked him to do it personally. Zheng Yuanqi immediately realized the importance of this matter when he heard that he had to do it personally. I understand, Zheng Yuanqi said solemnly. Then, he smiled and said, I have some ideas. Say it. Zhou said. Zheng Yuanqi smiled and said, since Your Majesty has already decided to collect the entrance fee, why don't you do it all the way as a dragon? You'll also be responsible for collecting the travel fee to send them from the territory to the Chaos Sea. In any case, we have the Shadow World as a heaven transit station. We can travel to any place in the Supreme Great Cosmos for free. This will cost us nothing, but it will make us a lot of money. Zheng Yuanqi's eyes lit up. As the Prime Minister of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom, he naturally knew how rich the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom was. It could be said that the daily income of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom was enough to build several top-notch Divine Kingdom Lord factions. However, who would despise earning more money? Zhou also felt that this was a good idea. He had the Supreme Unique Lord talent, Lord of Holy Shadows. His status in the Shadow World was second only to the Will of Shadow. The warp gate in the Shadow World could be used for free at will. It could be said that he could go wherever he wanted. With such a huge advantage, it would be a waste of resources not to use it. Since we've decided to charge a pickup fee, let's make it bigger. Zhou smiled and said solemnly, Zheng Yuanqi, this emperor wants you to establish a heavenly mountain post in the myriad worlds. This emperor wants any life form in the heavenly mountain post to use our heavenly mountain post to travel to any world in the Supreme Great Cosmos. In the process of establishing the heavenly stage station, if you find a world suitable for development or occupation, don't hesitate. Accept incite surrender if you can and buy if you can. If the other party doesn't agree, just occupy it. Remember a principle. You can fight, but you can't kill life forms indiscriminately. They will be our citizens in time to come. Zhou's expression was very calm at the end. He was a lord. Conquering the myriad worlds was his duty. Yes, Your Grace. Zheng Yuanqi nodded seriously. At the same time, his heart burned. He could sense that after the development plan of the heavenly stage station was implemented, the power of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom would definitely increase at an astonishing speed. More importantly, the hand of their Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom would extend to the entire myriad worlds through this heavenly post station. In the future, if they wanted to occupy the myriad worlds, this heavenly post would be the best springboard and the strongest intelligence network for them to attack the myriad worlds. At the thought of this, Zheng Yuanqi admired His Majesty's foresight even more. His Majesty must have thought of this, which was why he said that in the process of establishing the heavenly stage station, if he found a world suitable for development or occupation, he had to control it. This was a setup for the future. After that, Zheng Yuanqi and Zhou chatted for a while before Zheng Yuanqi left. After Zheng Yuanqi left, Zhou teleported to the sky above the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom again. Then, he opened the territory interface and took a look. After confirming that he had fulfilled all the requirements to advance to the Master God Tier Kingdom, he immediately chanted the advancement in his heart. The next second, a text notification appeared. Prompt: you have fulfilled all the conditions to advance to the beginner grade Master God tier kingdom. Do you want to advance the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom to the beginner grade Master God tier kingdom? Advance, Zhou immediately said. Prompt: you have one chance to change the location of God capital. Do you want to change/not change? Not change, Zhou said. Prompt: your choice has been confirmed. Prompt: your Lord's territory, Advanced Divine Kingdom, Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom is advancing. Prompt: advancement successful. Congratulations, your high-level Divine Kingdom Lord territory, Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. You have officially advanced to the beginner grade Master God territory, Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. Prompt: you can show the level of your Divine Kingdom territory on any channel. Zhou smiled. He had finally leveled up. The next second, another announcement sounded in the ears of all the races in the world. Announcement of the 10,000 races. Congratulations to the Prideful Sun Kingdom, Prideful Sun Lord, for successfully upgrading his kingdom to the first primary Lord God Kingdom Lord territory of the 10,000 races. Rewards: 10,000 races Mythology Treasure Box +1, Primary Lord God Kingdom Treasure Box +1, Legend Degree +1 million, Myth Degree +10,000. 10,000 races announcement. Congratulations to the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom, God Lord Blazing Sun. 10,000 races announcement. Congratulations to the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom, God Lord Blazing Sun. Zhou's smile became even more flamboyant. As for the myriad races in the heavens, they were shocked again. A Master God tier territory and a beginner grade Master God tier kingdom were born on the same day, and the person who created them was the same person. This achievement was enough to make the myriad worlds remember it for countless years. God Lord Blazing Sun would also become one of the most famous gods and lords in the history of the myriad worlds. The lords and god spirits in the myriad races Lord channel and the myriad races battle channel discussed intensely again. Zhou did not look at it much this time. He quickly focused on his reward. He opened the mythical tier treasure chest first. In the mythical tier treasure chest, there was a star stone emitting 5-colored light. Zhou looked over. Race Divine Artifact Name: 5 Elements Star. Equipment Grade: Top-notch Racial Divine Artifact, temporarily unbound. Race Divine Artifact Ability: Star Protection. Universal Race Divine Artifacts. Under the protection of the Star Ancestor, the talent of the 5 elemental laws of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth of life forms has increased. Moreover, it can be immune to 30% of the 5 elemental damage. The strength of the 5 elemental attacks released has increased by 30%. Race Divine Artifact Description: the 5 Elements Star is the clan-protecting divine artifact of the Star God race. It is regarded as a treasure by the Star God race. Later on, this treasure was forcefully snatched away by a supreme god. After many years, it fell into the hands of the common people's regal. Chapter 1550. Requirement to advance to an intermediate grade Master God tier Lord country. Upgrade the Gate of Summoning. Zhou widened his eyes in shock after reading it. The effect of this 5 Elements Star Race Divine Artifact was actually so heaven-defying. The percentage of immunity to 5 elemental damage was actually as high as 30%. The strength of the 5 element attack had also increased by 30%. In addition, it had also increased the life form's 5 element nomological talent. This effect, even in the Supreme God Realm Monument, there is no race divine artifact with such a strong effect. As expected of the reward for creating the Master God tier kingdom, it is too powerful. Zhou sighed inwardly. Then, he immediately recognized its will as its master and bound it to the citizens of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. He didn't feel much after binding it. He had countless bloodline talents on him, after all, and his immunity to all attributes had long been raised to an extremely high level. Coupled with his physique that was infinitely close to a Grade 1 Supreme Sacred Body, the augmentation of the 5 elements stars was almost non-existent. Therefore, He first returned to the shrine, and then casually got 0 to call over a Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom subject. This subject was a yellow gold tier elementary grade extraordinaire. While this level was very high, it was actually considered the weakest among the citizens of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. Generally speaking, only new subjects who had just joined the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom and began to enjoy the various lord talents and subject benefits of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom could be weaker than him. Zhou asked the other party if he felt anything strange just now. When the other party saw Zhou, he had a fanatical expression, like the most devout believer. When he heard this, he immediately told Zhou about his changes. After hearing this, Zhou used his divine sense to sense the specific changes in the other party's body. Then, he nodded slightly. Fortunately, the racial divine artifact's method of transforming a life form's constitution was very gentle. The subject only felt an invisible warm current suddenly transforming his body. Other than that, there was nothing strange. The other party was not afraid of this kind of modification at all. This was because the old subjects of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom had experienced such things too many times. They would obtain huge benefits every time. Therefore, they were already used to it. Only new subjects would make a fuss over such a good thing. Zhou chatted with the other party for a while more. After understanding that the current situation in the country was good, he nodded in satisfaction. As his main political avatar, Zhou manage's actions really made him feel at ease. Then, he got someone to give him some rewards before letting him leave. The other party left the shrine reluctantly. Then, Zhou opened another beginner-grade Master God-tier country treasure chest. After opening it, he saw a golden one-eyed seal lying quietly inside. It was a supreme heart. When Zhou saw this, he immediately felt bored. That's it. Was this even worthy of being a reward from the Master God-tier kingdom? He shook his head and did not mind. He had already gained enough today. He was already very satisfied. Moreover, to be honest, this supreme heart was already a good reward. He had only established a beginner-grade Master God-tier kingdom after all. Normally speaking, a Master God-tier was the standard powerhouse in a beginner-grade Master God-tier kingdom, and a Supreme God was the top powerhouse in a beginner-grade Master God-tier kingdom. A supreme heart that could increase the level of Master God-tier's will and increase the probability of advancing to Supreme God was a very suitable reward. He had not established a Supreme God-level country or a Supreme Will-level country, so it was naturally impossible for him to reward him with something better in the beginner-grade Master God-tier treasure chest. Then, he did not think too much about it. He opened the Divine Kingdom's information panel and checked the requirements to advance to a Master God-tier intermediate-grade kingdom. Divine Kingdom name: Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. Godlord Blazing Sun. Divine Kingdom level: beginner-grade Master God-tier kingdom. Divine Kingdom flag: all stars cover the sun. Divine Kingdom army: Blazing Sun Army, True God-tier advanced grade. Monster Army, True God-tier advanced grade. Dragon God Army, True God-tier advanced grade. 10,000 Races Army, True God-tier advanced grade. Heavenly Map Army, True God-tier advanced grade. Homeland Defense Army, True God-tier advanced grade. Requirements for advancing to the intermediate grade Master God-tier Lord Country. Territory level up to the Master God-tier intermediate grade. 1,000 Master God-tier intermediate divine crystals. Conquest of 50 high-level divine kingdoms under the Crimson Overlord, 0/50. Conquest of 20 high-level divine kingdoms that are not under the Crimson Overlord, 0/20. Conquest of any 200 high-level divine kingdom lord factions, and possession of their true god advanced grade divine kingdom tokens, 0/200. 2 billion independent regional territories. 500,000 divine artifacts of various races. 20 race divine artifacts, 2020. 500 races of worship true gods, 500/5000. And the strength of an intermediate grade Master God tier. Zhou nodded slightly after reading it. He had met all the other conditions, but he was still not satisfied with upgrading his territory to the Master God tier intermediate grade. The key is still the number of Chaos Divine treasures. Zhou muttered to himself. Fortunately, this was not difficult for him to resolve. It just needed some time. Then, he first called Zhou Marshal over and handed the matter of dealing with the time ruins to him. He then led his troops to clean up the time ruins and obtain the Chaos Divine treasure inside. Then, he came to the Gate of Summoning and spent 400 Gai units of basic materials and 1,000 Master God tier elementary grade divine crystals to upgrade the Gate of Summoning to the lower level of Master God tier, and a text notification appeared. Congratulations! Your Gate of Summoning has been successfully upgraded to a Master God tier elementary grade building. You can summon 100 million subjects every day. 10 million professionals will appear among the subjects you summon every day. Prompt. Under the influence of the unique title of the race, Glory of the Pioneer 13, the number of subjects you can summon every day has reached 2,471,551,500. You will summon 10,014 professionals every day. Zhou nodded after reading it. The basic number of subjects summoned for Master God tier elementary grade summoning gate was 185,965,500. After being buffed by the Glory of the Pioneer 13, it directly increased by 13 times, becoming 2,417,551,500 people. Moreover, he could summon 14 Master God tier elementary grade Master Gods every day. Zhou was very satisfied with this effect. In the future, he would be able to freeload 14 clan protecting experts every day. Even though to the current Zhou, 14 Master Gods were nothing, he was very happy to be able to obtain it for free. Then, he glanced at the requirement to upgrade the Gate of Summoning. Building upgrade. Wood 500 Gai units, sand 500 Gai units, metal 500 Gai units, stone 500 Gai units, Master God tier intermediate grade divine crystals 5,000. Territory level upgraded to Master God tier intermediate grade. The upgrade requirement for the Gate of Summoning was still as simple and unadorned as ever. Zhou retracted his gaze and spent 4 Gai units of basic materials, 10,000 Master God tier elementary crystals, and 10 billion high-grade elemental gems to upgrade the original Dragon Abyss to the Master God tier elementary grade. Building name: Original Dragon Abyss. Construction level: Master God tier elementary grade. Construction effect: every day, you can summon 60 billion extraordinary tier pure-blooded dragons from the original Dragon Abyss, 6 billion epic tier pure-blooded dragons, 6 billion legendary tier pure-blooded dragons, 60,000 true God tier advanced grade dragon gods to become subjects under the Lord. There is a 60% chance of summoning 1 legendary dragon, and a 10% chance of summoning 2 legendary dragons. Note: when all the legendary dragons are summoned, the legendary dragons that can't be summoned again will be replaced by 1,000 true God tier advanced grade dragon gods. Construction upgrade: 5 wood Gai units, 5 sand Gai units, 5 metal Gai units, 5 stone Gai units, 10,000 Master God tier intermediate grade divine crystals, 50 billion advanced elemental gemstones, territory upgraded to intermediate grade Master God tier country level Lord faction, 100 high Lord God tier dragon tribes offerings. Zhou looked at the effect of the building and fell into deep thought. Chapter 1551, Lord Talon Improvement. The advancement effect of the original Dragon Abyss is getting more and more ordinary. Looks like the upper limit of the original Dragon Abyss is here. He shook his head, not surprised. The original Dragon Abyss was a pure-blooded dragon soldier type building, and the number of pure-blooded dragons was known to the myriad worlds after all. He was already very surprised that he could summon so many pure-blooded dragons and legendary dragons. In addition, when summoning, there was a 10% chance of summoning 2 legendary dragons. It was also a good improvement. However, that was all. The legendary dragons were only Master God tier dragons after all. To the current Zhou, a Master God tier legendary dragon was nothing. A Supreme God legendary dragon, such as the Azura evil dragon under Lord of 10,000 Evils, was in existence that surprised Zhou. Unfortunately, a supreme god-level dragon like Azura evil dragon probably wouldn't be able to summon it with the upper limit of the original Dragon Abyss. As for the next level of advancement in the original Dragon Abyss, Zhou only took a glance before retracting his gaze. Another building that could only be upgraded after the territory was upgraded. Then, he returned to the Kingdom of God and sent someone to call Mu Gu, Zheng Fugui, and Carol Moeli over. A moment later, the three of them arrived in front of Zhou. "Greetings, Your Majesty," the three of them said respectfully. "Yes, as you can see, the territory has already been promoted to Master God Tier Elementary Grade. Tell me about your respective improvements." Zhou said. Mu Gu was naturally the first to stand up. "Your Majesty, the Scarlet Brood Mother that am currently in has been upgraded from True God Tier Advanced Grade to Master God Tier Elementary Grade. The number of Mist Mothers evolved from the Master God Tier Elementary Grade Scarlet Brood Mother has increased from 20 million to 50 million. Each Mist Mother's Mist Mother world can now nurture 100 billion fog monsters. 50 million Mist Mothers can nurture a total of 500 capital units fog monsters. In addition, the quality and efficiency of cultivating high-quality Scarlet Heirs has also increased. Currently, I can already nurture 10 Master God Tier Elementary Grade Scarlet God Spirits in a day. As for True God Tiers and Ordinary God Spirits, unless the Crimson Overlord dies and the Scarlet Fog no longer exists in the myriad worlds, as long as I have enough time, I can nurture them endlessly," Mu Gu said confidently. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. After Mu Gu's Scarlet Brood Mother advanced from True God Tier Advanced Grade to Master God Tier Elementary Grade, its breeding ability had indeed improved greatly. 500 capital units Misty Monsters. Which meant, if he used all these Mist Mothers to nurture his soldier type, with the enhancement of Lord talents and titles like Heavenly Fate Di Huang, he would be able to obtain 1,000 capital units Supreme God Realm Soldier Recruitment Books, 1,000 capital units Supreme God Realm Soldier Class Change Certificate, 1,000 capital units Supreme Holy Mage God Recruitment Books, and 1,000 capital units Supreme Holy Mage God Class Change Certificate, which meant he could have an additional 4,000 capital units recruits in a day. He only had 2,000 capital unit soldiers. The number of newly recruited soldiers today was already twice that of his total military strength. Moreover, these 4,000 capital unit soldiers would all be Supreme Soldier type soldiers with the lowest strength of an extraordinary tier advanced grade. Lord of 10,000 Evils exclaimed in disbelief. In addition, in terms of nurturing the Scarlet God Spirit, Mu Gu's ability had also made a huge breakthrough. Now he could actually nurture a Master God tier. Moreover, he could nurture 10 Master Gods in a day. An expert who stood at the top of the myriad worlds sounded like a product on an assembly line when Mu Gu said it. However, Zhou still had the same idea. If he could not nurture God spirits, he would nurture ordinary soldiers. Zhou said directly, "Of your 50 million Mist Mothers, 25 million will be used to nurture the ruler of chaos, and the other 25 million will be used to nurture the primordial holy canon." "Yes, Your Majesty." Mu Gu nodded respectfully. Then, he retreated. Seeing this, Zheng Fugui stepped forward. "Reporting to Your Majesty. Now, the number of mysterious merchants has increased from 500 billion to 1 trillion after the territory upgraded to the Master God Tier Elementary Grade. The number of carriages transporting goods has also increased to 1 trillion. Among these 1 trillion mysterious merchants, there are a total of 1 million Master God Tiers, 99 million True God Tiers, and 900 billion Ordinary God Spirits. Our treasure hunting ability has improved again. In the future, when we go out to do business, we should be able to bring back at least 1 million God Tier treasures each time. In addition, as one of the core branches of the mysterious Merchant Chamber of Commerce, our status has increased again. Currently, we are already a direct branch of the mysterious Merchant Chamber of Commerce. The salary we receive every day has increased from 5,000 mysterious Merchant Chamber of Commerce points to 10,000 mysterious merchant chamber of commerce points," he said respectfully. Zhou nodded. He felt a little emotional. 1,000,000 master god tier. 100 billion true god tiers. Nearly trillions of ordinary god spirits. Every time he was a little pleased with the progress of his power, Zheng Fugui's mysterious chamber of commerce would give him a blow to the head, telling he that there was always someone better out there. Just the direct line of descent already had such a force. He did not dare to imagine how terrifying the combined strength of the entire mysterious merchant chamber of commerce was. Zheng Fugui left after saying that. Seeing this, Carol Moeli stood up and said respectfully, "Reporting to Your Majesty. Your Majesty, after the territory was upgraded to the Master God tier elementary grade, our life arc already has a clergyman from the capital units, a priest from the capital units, a nun from the capital units, and 100 life paladins from the capital units. These clergymen are enough to complete the war treatment mission and the war resurrection mission for 100 capital units. Also, currently, there are already 2 billion high-level divine duty members at the life arc god spirit level. Every one of them has mastered the resurrection spells, and they can resurrect the deities of our country alone. As for my strength, I'm still a master god tier advanced grade. I haven't improved yet." Not only was Zhou not surprised, but he was also a little worried. The 10,000 strong capital units war healing mission and war revival mission. If Zhou had heard this number in the past, he would definitely be overjoyed and feel that he did not have to worry about the soldiers' treatment and resurrection for the time being. However, he had an army of 2,000 capital units under his command. Furthermore, starting tomorrow, he would be able to obtain 4,000 capital units recruits from the Scarlet Brood Mother every day. Which meant, 3 days later, there would be insufficient healers in the Life Arkansas. It's time to recruit healing professionals and resurrection professionals from the myriad worlds. It just so happens that I can carry out the plan with the All-Heaven Station. Zhou muttered to himself. Then, he chatted with Mugu and them for a while longer about the arrangements for the future. After that, he let them return. Zhou instructed Zheng Yuanqi to recruit healing-type professionals and resurrection-type professionals from the myriad worlds in the plan of the Heavenly Post through his personal terminal. Then, he entered the Reincarnation Sacred Palace and continued cultivating. Chapter 1552, Time Ruins, Chaos of Death. 1. At the same time, Zhou Marshal had already led his army to the Chaos Sea. Just as he arrived at the Chaos Sea, before Zhou Marshal could look for the Time Ruins, he saw a 5-colored stream of light fly over from not far away. Then it quickly arrived in front of Zhou Marshal and revealed itself. It looked like a tiger. It had 5-colored fur, a snake tail, a turtle's back, a human face, and a box. The voice it spoke was as tender and pleasant as a baby's. It was one of the worshipped master gods of the Chaos God race, Bai Zhe. After the Chaos God's race returned the Chaos Sea to the Chaos humans, Haze of Chaos, the patriarch of the Chaos God's race, did not expel the Chaos God's race. Instead, he carved out a place in the Chaos Sea for them to rest. The reason was simple. Haze of Chaos knew that the Chaos God's race and the Chaos human race had a long-standing grudge. However, Haze of Chaos was very clear-headed. He knew that everything he had now was given to him by Zhou, and he, and the entire Chaos human race, had already become a direct descendant race under Zhou, second only to the Blazing Sun God race. In his position he was scheming. Haze of Chaos felt that he should be more considerate of His Majesty. Since His Majesty had already designated the entire Chaos God's race as a slave race of the Blazing Sun Empire, he definitely wanted the powerful Chaos God's race to stay behind and serve him. Even if the Chaos God's race was a slave race, they were once one of the 3 top bloodline races after all. They were only inferior to the original spirit race, and were even stronger than the Shepherd's God race. If the Haze of Chaos relied on its own wishes to suppress and destroy such a powerful race, it would feel good. However, it would also lose a powerful force under His Majesty. Even if His Majesty did not say anything on the surface, he might have a grudge in his heart. Even if there was only a slight possibility, as the leader of the clan, Haze of Chaos did not want this to happen from the perspective of the future of the race. Therefore, for the sake of the overall situation, the Haze of Chaos did not exterminate the Chaos God's race. In fact, it even left a habitat for them. As for whether the Chaos God's race would continue to oppress the Chaos human race after recuperating, Haze of Chaos was not worried at all. He knew that His Majesty had the Chaos human bloodline. Such a thing would never happen unless His Majesty was gone one day. Speaking of which, when Baizé saw Zhou Marshal, he immediately apologized respectfully. Baizé greets Your Majesty. I rushed over as soon as I heard the news of Your Majesty's arrival. I didn't expect to be a step late. Please punish me, Your Majesty. It's fine. Zhou Marshal waved his hand, indicating that he did not mind. They had directly warped over through the warp gate of the Shadow World. The time spent on the way could almost be described as a moment. It was already not bad that the other party could arrive so quickly. Furthermore, Zhou Marshal wasn't someone who cared about such trivial matters. He didn't want to think too much about it and instead said, You look hesitant. Do you have something to tell this emperor? Your Majesty, please look into this matter. Baizé said respectfully. Just now, a large group of foreign race leaders suddenly appeared outside our Chaos Sea. They wanted to enter the Chaos Sea to explore. The lords of the Chaos human tribe asked them why they were here. In the end, they said that there are resources in the Chaos Sea for them to advance to the Master God tier level. They want to go in and obtain them. Patriarch Haze of Chaos didn't deal with this matter easily. When he heard that Your Majesty was here, he immediately sent me over to ask for Your Majesty's opinion. As for Patriarch Haze of Chaos, he is still trying to stabilize those people of foreign races. These guys got here pretty fast. Zhou Marshal clicked his tongue in wonder. He had just learned from Bodhi Supreme that there were many time ruins of the Chaos era in the Chaos Sea. He did not expect that after just a while, these leaders of the other races would actually know this news and even come to obtain resources. He really could not underestimate the myriad races in the world. Zhou Marshal lamented inwardly. It was true that he had the omniscient Bodhi Supreme. However, the foundation of those ancient races could not be underestimated. Tell the Haze of Chaos not to worry. These people of foreign races will retreat on their own in a while. Zhou Marshal said. Baizé was stunned, not quite understanding the reason behind this. However, it was smart enough not to ask any questions. It only took its leave respectfully. Sure enough, in less than a moment, Baizé sent a message through the army panel. He told the people of foreign races that they had left one after another. When Zhou Marshal saw Baizé's message, he nodded slightly. It seemed like Zheng Yuanqi's news had already arrived. Then, he stopped caring and followed the map given by Bodhi Supreme to the time ruins. Zhou Marshal looked at the door of the time ruins in front of him. This door was dark golden in color and was engraved with ancient murals. It should be describing the history of the most ancient era. At a glance, Zhou felt as if he was in the wrong time. The power of time. Zhou Marshal's expression was solemn. This time ruins was clearly of a much higher level than Nadia's time ruins. He looked over and a text notification appeared. Time Ruins Name. Chaos of Death. Grade Supreme. Introduction to the Time Ruins. At the end of the Chaos era, the Supreme Will and the Crimson Overlord made an agreement to attack the Chaos Will at the same time. Both sides joined forces and killed the father who created them. They used the inheritance left behind by the Chaos Will to create the Supreme Great Cosmos and the Crimson Great Cosmos, and became the Great Universe Master. Chapter 1553, Time Ruins, Chaos of Death. 2. Note 1. This time ruins will automatically reset once a day to obtain a new opportunity to enter. Note 2. You can only bring 10,000 subjects into this time ruins at most. Note 3. If you die in the time ruins, if you don't have any resurrection methods, you will really die. Please protect yourself. Zhou Marshall looked at the introduction of the time ruins and frowned. There was something wrong with the description of the ruins. Back then, he had heard of the creation myth from the Bodhi Supreme. He learned from Bodhi Supreme that the chaos will had predicted in advance that he was going to die because of the creation of the world. Therefore, before he died, he gave his authority over the chaos origin to his eldest daughter, the Supreme Will, and one of his second daughters, the Crimson Overlord. In the end, because the path of the Supreme Lord was more suitable for controlling the great cosmos, after the creation of the world, the chaos will wanted to hand over its authority over the chaos to the Supreme Will. After Crimson Overlord heard this news, it felt that it was the best choice to control the universe after the creation of the world. Therefore, after the death of the Chaos Will, the Crimson Overlord no longer hid its intentions. In order to fight for the authority of the Chaos Origin, it fought with the Supreme Will. After a head-on clash of strength, it finally obtained half of the corpse of the Chaos Will, which represented half of the authority of the Chaos Origin. Then, the Supreme Will and the Crimson Overlord each used half of their corpses to create the Supreme Great Cosmos and the Crimson Great Cosmos. All the races knew about it after all. At this moment, Zhou Marshall recalled the creation myth that the Bodhi Supreme had told him back then. He was even more confused compared to the introduction of the time ruins in front of him. At this moment, Zhou Marshall recalled the creation myth that the Bodhi Supreme had told him back then. Compared to the introduction of the time ruins in front of him, he was even more confused. Zhou Marshall thought for a while, and vaguely felt that the introduction of the time ruins might be right. This feeling came inexplicably, but his intuition made he believe this. Zhou managed took a deep breath. Forget it. I didn't believe either of them at first. What the real history of the past was did not mean much to him. He was a lord, not a historian after all. Who cared what had happened to it? Furthermore, when his physical strength reached a certain level, the true history would naturally appear in front of him. Thinking too much now is just asking for trouble. Only 10,000 subjects can enter this time ruins. Zhou Marshall looked at this request and selected 9,999 top-notch Master God tiers and a Grade 1 Ultimate Void Supreme God from his subordinates. He did not dare to underestimate this time ruins, so the subordinates he brought were all top-notch. However, he did not dare to bring all the Supreme Gods with him. Otherwise, if he really encountered any mishaps, as an incarnation, it would be fine if he died. His main body could be revived by replenishing his origin. If those Supreme Gods died, it would be difficult to resurrect them. Even though Thanatos currently had the ability to resurrect Supreme Gods, as a new god who had just entered the Supreme God realm, he could only resurrect Grade 1 Supreme Gods at most. No matter how strong he was, he could not resurrect them. This was not enough for the Supreme Gods under Zhou Zhou. Then, he pushed open the dark golden door and entered the time ruins. Zhou Fight opened his eyes. He looked at the world in front of him. Then, he realized that this was a chaotic world. Why is it chaotic? This was because the world in front of him was still in a state before the creation of the world. Violent and chaotic airflow could be seen everywhere. In addition to the chaotic airflow, strands of pure white light and strands of scarlet fog were mixed in. In addition to the three-colored substance, there were also a large number of god spirits under the Supreme Will, the god spirits under the Crimson Overlord, and chaotic divine demons fighting. There were ordinary god spirits, true god tiers, master god tiers, supreme gods, and even supreme existences. They attacked unscrupulously, causing the chaotic airflow to constantly disintegrate and reform. The nomological laws were reversed, and the void collapsed. It even made Zhou Zhou feel as if he did not know where he was or where he was. Chaos. It was too chaotic. Zhou Fight took a deep breath as he stared intently at the fighting figures. Those were all Supreme Will level existences. He had never seen it before. Now, he had actually seen it in this time ruin, and there was more than one. The scene of such an existence battling was truly frightening. However, he couldn't bear to look away. The Master God tiers and Grade 1 Ultimate Void Supreme Gods behind him had also woken up at this moment. Like Zhou Wu, They were staring at the vast battle scene intently. Joe Marshall did not care about them. Right at that moment, Joe Marshall suddenly realized something. There were a lot of Supreme Will level existences here. There were at least 1,000 of them. As for the Supreme Will level existences in the real world, Bodhi Supreme had once revealed some to Zhou. Under the Supreme Will, there seemed to be no more than 50 famous Supreme Will level existences and hidden Will level existences. It was the same for Crimson Overlord. In other words, in the real world, there were only about 100 Supreme Will level experts under Crimson Overlord. And here, there were over 1,000 Supreme Will level experts. In other words, later, the extra Supreme Will level experts had all disappeared or died. Did he die in this war? Joe Marshall thought. His expression could not help but turn solemn. This war was actually so bitter. Even so many Supreme Will level experts died. So there were only about 100 Supreme Will level experts left in the future. Future generations did not even record much of this history. I don't think any of the survivors want to talk about this history. Fortunately, the original body does not live in this era. Joe Marshall thought to himself. Right at that moment, a familiar mission interface also appeared in front of Joe Marshall. Time negotiation has begun. You and your subordinates will automatically belong to the Supreme Will faction. Current camps: 1 Supreme Will camp, 1 Crimson Overlord camp friendly, 3 Chaos Will camp hostile. Time mission 1. Eliminate the enemy. Mission details: eliminate the chaotic divine demons until the Supreme Willpower Realm experts arrive. Mission objective: 1 King Chaotic Divine Demon Master God Tier 0/20. 2 Emperor Chaotic Divine Demons Supreme God 0/5. 3 Saint Chaotic Divine Demons Supreme Will 0 out of 1. Gift of Time: kill chaotic divine demons of any level. There is a 10% chance of dropping the corresponding Book of the God Spirit. Time mission 2. Protect comrades. Mission details: protect and heal your wounded comrades in your region. Mission objective: all 20 comrades are safe and alive, and some have returned to the battlefield to fight. 0/20. Gift of Time: every time you protect and heal a comrade, you can recruit a god of the same level in reality. Time mission 3. Chaos of Death, exclusive to Obscure Supreme Lord Reserve Army. Mission details: witness the death of the Chaos Will and understand its secrets. Mission objective: witness the death of the Chaos Will. Learn from the Supreme Will, or the Crimson Overlord, why they joined forces to kill the Chaos Will. Gift of Time: Supreme Lord Reserve exclusive Supreme Lord Reserve Army power upgrade. Note: Time mission 1 and 2 needs to be completed. Countdown to the time ruins: 23 hours 51 minutes and 15 seconds. After Joe Marshall finished reading, his gaze landed on the 3rd mission. He could not help but be surprised. There was actually a Supreme Lord Reserve Army that belonged solely to him, and the reward was an increase in weight. This mission must be completed, Joe Marshall immediately thought. This concerned the increase in weight, so he had no choice but to take it seriously. Still, Joe Marshall's gaze landed on the first time mission. Destroy a chaotic divine demon? Is this mission a joke? What was the difference between this mission and asking Journey Tyrant to destroy Tang Sanzang and his disciple? A Supreme Will level powerhouse could probably wipe them out with a single look. Zhou Fight had no intention of challenging this mission and decided to ignore it for the time being. Chapter 1554. Gain from the Chaos Divine Treasure. Fight 1. Right at that moment, Joe Marshall suddenly raised his head and looked into the distance. He saw 20 Master God Chaotic Divine Demons and 5 Supreme God Chaotic Divine Demons flying towards them. I, Dahar, will take your lives, Supreme Will's bitches men. The leader of the group, a grade 4 Chaotic Divine Demon Supreme God, laughed sinisterly. When Joe Marshall saw their lineup, he heaved a sigh of relief. The other party's Chaotic Divine Demon did not attack immediately. He flipped his right hand and saw a pure white fire seed appear in his hand. He threw it into the sky, and the fire seed soared into the sky. Then there was a huge explosion. This huge explosion produced a large number of nomological fluctuations and condensed the symbol of the supreme eye in the air. This was a seeking fire seed. Furthermore, it was the highest level seeking fire seed. Once it was used, it meant that a supreme will realm existence had come to launch a surprise attack. They urgently needed a supreme will realm existence from their side to come and save them. When Joe Marshall first appeared on the battlefield, he realized that he had this thing on him for no reason. Other than that, there were also other low-level seeking fire seeds that could call supreme gods and master gods over to help. These things might be items that came with entering the time ruins. Generally speaking, according to the rules of the battlefield, the seeking fire seed could only be used in times of danger. For example, the highest level seeking fire seed could only be used when the enemy's supreme will realm attacked. If you don't follow the rules and use it freely, you will be severely punished by the supreme will. However, Joe Marshall couldn't care less at this moment. By the time the enemy's supreme will came to launch a sneak attack and used the seeking fire seed of the highest level, they would have long been dead by the time the supreme will of their side arrived. Let's call him over first. As for the punishment, when the time of the time ruins was up, they would automatically exit the time ruins. When the time ruins opened again the next day, the powerhouses in the time ruins would all be forced to reset. Since Joe Marshall knew about this situation, he was naturally not afraid of any punishment. You're gonna be refreshed. There's real loss only if we die. If I make the wrong choice, it'll come back tomorrow. At the same time, just as Joe Marshall sent out the seeking fire seed, in the chaotic airflow that was an unknown distance away from Joe Marshall and company, a beautiful woman with a fluttering jade belt and a gentle look in her eyes was fighting against 3 other chaotic divine demons at the supreme will realm with her black-armored companion. Right at that moment, they saw the mark of the pure white eye condensed in the sky. It's the highest level mark of the white eye. There's an unparalleled will realm existence that attacked our military. When the beautiful woman and the supreme will in black armor saw this scene, their expressions immediately turned ugly. Those shameless people under the chaos will are actually willing to do such a bad thing. The black-armored supreme will cursed loudly. He turned to the beautiful woman and said, "Yellow River, go and support that place. I'll do it alone." "Can you?" Yellow River hesitated. The other party was in existence with 3 supreme wills. Yellow River was a little worried about him. "Don't worry, I am the will of war." The will of war said lightly, "In my eyes, all existences in the supreme will realm are like ants. Only the supreme will, the Crimson Overlord, and the Chaos will are worthy of my reverence. These 3 chaotic divine demons can't do anything to me." The will of Yellow River was a little helpless in the face of the will of war's arrogant speech, but he did not refute it. The other party had attained supreme willpower through one of the paths of battle. He was born to be a battle maniac who fought against the gods. As soon as he reached the supreme willpower realm, his combat strength surpassed many old supreme willpower experts. Up until now, he had even become a top supreme willpower expert second only to the supreme willpower. The Crimson Overlord and the Chaos were known as peerless experts who might become the 4th willpower expert in the end. 1 against 3 supreme wills sounded dangerous, but to the other party, it was really nothing. Yellow River's will was not a hesitant person. Hearing this, he did not say anything else. He nodded and flew in the direction of Zhou fight. After seeing Yellow River's will leave, the will of war looked at the 3 chaotic divine demons who were attacking him. A wanton and arrogant smile appeared on his face. "When little Yellow River was here just now, I got into a bad fight. It's time for me to have the fun of fighting alone now. Will of war, you are too conceited. Your ego will cost you an irreparable price." A supreme chaotic divine demon looked at them coldly and said, "Countless god spirits, and even will-level existences have said the same to me. Now they have all been defeated by me, or even killed by me." The will of war said lightly, "Attack." The 3 chaotic divine demons could not be bothered to say anything else. They charged over and fought with the other party. The will of war sensed that something was wrong as soon as they exchanged blows. This was because he had sensed that the strength that the other party had displayed was clearly more than half of what it had been before. So you were hiding your strength. Funny, but that's not enough. Ha ha ha. That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.